All right, three, two, one, go. And we're going. Exciting times. Let's see. Let me change the name of this real quick. So people know what's going on. When they see it live, they'll know, and they won't be surprised. Got my, as you can see, I got my apron on, so I plan on doing some heavy duty uh, paint slinging today. I have washed with soap and water these Reaper Black Goblin Wolf Riders. Now, I used my power drill and I actually drilled a hole in the wolf and the goblin and posted them together before I glued them. So this goblin has not come out because those posts went in a good quarter of an inch. And the goblin's really not that tall. So, let me open up chat. My ear trumpet has been struck by lightning. What's up, homie? How you doing? That would be like a villains and vigilantes superhero where you were deaf, but then your ear trumpet got struck by lightning, and now you have super hearing. Villains and Vigilantes is a great game back in the 80s, 90s, whenever it came out. But since you random rolled your superhero and everything like that, you could end up with like weird, crazy shit, And plus, every superhero had a flaw too. So you could end up with like a guy that had like the example they gave in the book, Dirty Goblin. I agree. The example they gave in the book was Mosquito Man. He could do all this badass shit, but bug spray would just kill him outright. So, that was the superhero they gave in the book. Like I made a character I called the Black Manta, and I think there's actually a character named Black Manta. But my character's powers was I could manipulate electricity, but I couldn't generate it. So I had to like stick a fork in an outlet or something to try to absorb as much, electricity as I could absorb. And then I could manipulate that, but I couldn't create it. Hungar, why don't you jump in here, bro? I mean, it's not as if you didn't sleep through your live stream this week. But, and besides that, you could call it an early birthday present for your brother, because I don't know if you remember or not, but yes, birthdays are coming. Eli's coming, hide your girl now. Eli's coming, hide your girl now. And on the year I was born, so I'm going to give away a little info for free. A little info. Drop a toaster in a bath. Yeah. I don't remember how I think I got bit by an electric eel or something, because, the getting bit by something making you superhero is like, and the thing with Villains and Vigilantes is it was very much, it's very much tongue in cheek, or it can be. Like it can be serious, or it can be like Silver or Golden Age, straight up wackadoo comics with like, crazy villains, like it can either be the Dark Knight Returns or whatever, or the Tick, and it can do it really easy. So I mean, it's like, what superhero game do you want to play? I mean, do you want to play a big goofball that's fighting against a guy who's named Sheriff Face Chippendale, or do you want to play as, an ultra wealthy whatever fighting against a giant venom powered maniac that's also a super genius? Because let's be honest, guys, I am not a comic book fan at all. Yes, it's my birthday tomorrow. I will be 34. If that were true, some of you guys would be like, damn, that guy's looking rough for 34. No, I'll be 54. 1 year, guys, and I'll be able to get that discount at Denny's. Oh man, I'm looking forward to it. But that is one thing in the movies they got wrong about Bane. Is not only was Bane super freaking strong, he was a super genius. Like, there's no way Bane would have ended up working for Poison Ivy. And I know I'm going back to a movie that was made before, 15 or 20 years ago or whenever it was. But yeah, there's no way Bane would work for Poison Ivy. If anything, it would have had to be the other way around. Because the Venom did not make Bane stupid. And Bane, like I said, was a super genius. He was a crime mastermind, super genius that they were testing the stuff on. And during the course of them testing the stuff on, he learned how to make it himself. He learned all the ingredients. And then he murdered everyone else that knew how to make it and broke out of the prison he was in, which I think was in Central or South America or something, and decided to, go on his merry way. So their depiction of Bane was just ridiculous. But then again, now, and this is just me rambling, so if you got something to say, they already give me the senior discount. If you got something to say or you disagree, go ahead. But they also screwed up Mr. Freeze so bad. So bad. Of course, later in the comic books, they really screwed him up. So, whatever. But I love Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. Everybody knows this. My favorite action film of all time is Predator. I think it is the best action movie ever put on film. However, Schwarzenegger should not have been Freeze. I mean, could he do the cool everybody freeze? Yeah. Hey, what's up, my bro?
What are you doing, Dork?
Well, I got to babysit the pup while my wife had to run and get us a new modem, which meant I was abused by the Pomeranian because he expected me to fix the fact that Mama was not home. And that meant he ran around the house carrying on and jumping up and down on my face.
It sucks that you got to wait for a year to get your senior discount when I already get mine.
Well, I mean, considering everything, bro, not to be mean, I'll take it.
You're young. You're older than me.
And that's why I said not to be mean, I'll take it. However, sometimes if I wear my Desert Storm veteran hat into restaurants, they automatically give me the veterans discount.
Well, you should automatically get it anyway.
So even though I guess they expect you sometimes to show a card. Brucey, my man, what's up, Bruce?
Hello, Bruce? Hungar. James, how are you two today?
Well, we're better now.
That's good to hear.
Well, I'm just speaking for me. I don't know. Hungar might be like, screw that Bruce guy.
I love
hanging out with Bruce. That's always a good time.
I love Bruce, like a fat kid loves cake.
I know you do.
I believe all of us love cake.
I actually don't. Never have.
I don't know. Mom makes a mean pineapple upside down cake.
Does that even count?
What's its name?
Look, man, we call you Haas. You're a dwarf.
So a dwarf could be
Haas Cartwright. Haas Cartwright was like 6 foot something. He's a big guy. You're like 5 foot something.
Well, I would have been taller if I hadn't stopped growing, asshole.
Yeah, I guess that's nobody's fault, but genetics. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Yeah. Okay.
At least I grew in the right places.
Now you're just being mean. Now you're just being mean. I tried. That's my fault. If you want to blame anyone, blame. I guess they say you take after that from your mom. My apple dump cake is Bubbalicious. Oh my god, that sounds like a rap song.
I just saw that and I don't know quite how to interpret that yet.
That's what I'm saying. Doesn't that sound like a rap song?
It sounds like either a rap song or
An advertisement.
Yeah, it's an advert.
OnlyFans or something.
It's an advert for some Instagram like booty busting like exercise set, you know.
Hey, I'm looking at this way.
Brings all the boys to the yard, yo.
Nah, bro, you got it wrong. It's Bubbalicious definition make the boys go loco instead of Fergalicious.
Yeah, Bubbalicious is making those boys go loco with that apple dump. You could throw a little Nelly in there too with the, apple bottom girls with the boots with the fur. The whole world looking at her.
Damn.
Anyway, that's going back a ways, isn't it?
I fucking just got like a gray hair on a pimple. Thanks.
Yeah, that's going back a ways. Shorty got low.
I was checking out that Wilhelm game. Graphics still suck.
Well, look, the graphics might suck, but that's not why you play the game.
I tell you a game I got stuck on. Armored Core 6.
Oh my God, Armor Core. Don't mention that too loud. Hungar will go into fits.
No. I can't beat the first boss. I've played it 4 times, and I've deduced that I need to be facing the correct direction when the boss first makes his entrance. So I have a chance of even knocking the health down like a third before he can get within melee range. But the game is rigged because it'll fly out of like melee range after you give it a few whacks, and then it just starts dumping AoE on you. And it's like, I don't want to play a game like this.
Yeah, that game is a house of lies.
I want to hack the game so I can expand the play area so he doesn't have an out of bounds I can't go into. Because I really like, I know there's a big fucking game in there, but getting past that first boss legitimately, like, I don't want to have to fucking practice to get good. I fucking work for 13 hours a day.
That's all there is to it. Get good.
I work for 13 hours a day. I suck shit in grease. I have to fucking decontaminate myself with peroxide after every third stop. I think I do enough. So I like it. I'll just put it out there. Like, if I ever meet somebody from software, we're going to talk.
The thing you have to remember is that's a Japanese game. And they don't give a F about it. They feel like if you're not willing to put in the work, you don't deserve it. Now, the reason I said don't mention Armor Core because Hungar would freak out is because we had Armor Core long time ago on the Sony PlayStation, and I beat the game. So I unlocked all the different mech pieces. I would freaking take him to the woodshed every time he'd sit down across from me. You know it. He would get so frustrated because, whatever mech he built, I always built the same exact mech, and I would just wreck him.
Shut your whore mouth.
Go back to Whore Island.
I mean, whore mouth might be true, but come on, admit it. You know it's true.
You're a dirty pirate hooker.
I love Whore Island.
I might be a dirty pirate hooker, but you got to give.
In Shadow's Butt Pirates of Gay Water campaign, maybe you'll get to visit Whore Island, but it won't be what you were expecting.
What are you doing, Bear?
I'm finishing my day at work. I got an hour left. I saw you guys were on. I thought, you know what? I don't have to talk to anybody for the rest of the day at work. I just got to sit here and make sure nothing goes wrong. I'll come talk to you guys.
Well, we appreciate that.
Good to see you,
One
Bear.
of my closest buddies, my Canadian friend I talk about, his job was he wrote jingles
Jingles?
for like commercials in Canada.
Nice. Great work.
I mean,
if you get it.
originally he spent like 20 years working on the oil fields, but then somehow when he got into his mid 40s, he somehow landed a job writing jingles.
Good for him.
And he always said he only had to write a couple a year, really, because the pay was so good on it. You know what I mean? If he could sell a few a year, he was good. I mean, he wasn't rich. He lived in an apartment in Calgary with a roommate. But
Hey, that show 2.5 Men, that's what Charlie Sheen's character does.
yeah. Well, his real name was Don, but everyone, of course, called him Skid because I guess he got kicked out of his house when he was very young. So he kind of lived as a homeless person for a very long time. And the nickname Skid kind of stayed with him, you know. And then, of course, he got on the oil rigs, which meant at least for half a year, he had a home. Even if it was a cargo box insulated with some beds in it, you know. I don't know, but he made me a huge fan back in the Sony days of the Calgary Flames. And I would play them and always get my ass whipped by my bro that was always playing like the Pens or Detroit, you know. But I like the red uniforms, so that was cool.
I liked the Flames when they were the Atlanta Flames.
Yeah. I don't even remember that.
Well, just because my first name begins with A, and it was their symbol was an A on fire. So I'm like, well,
Nice.
there you go.
Nice.
There you go.
So, Bruce, what you painting today?
Just some goblin stuff-ish sort of thing.
Dirty goblins.
Dirty goblins.
What movie are you watching this week for Bruce?
Sunday, the movie of the day will be Night of the Lepus.
Oh, Night of the Lepus. Oh God, no, no.
Not
James,
with
DeForest Kelly's least finest moment.
What's up, Satya? I mean, I kind of watched Food of the Gods like a week ago.
Yeah, Food of the Gods is good.
Yeah,
Night of the Lepus is not a good movie, sir.
And Castle Freak, that's pretty crazy.
I don't know what that is.
Castle Freak is where like these people with a blind daughter inherit a castle. And the thing they don't know is there's like an inbred maniac that lives under the castle.
Nice.
And then he's coming up to see the blind girl. And it's very, believe it or not, it's very Lovecraftian in its way, you know, like who is the freak, whatever. You know, the locals are a bunch of assholes who hate anybody not from there. And
who is the freak? Why are they freaking? What is going on with this freak?
Right. But I went on a stint where I actually went on YouTube and typed in recent Lovecraftian horror movies and then just started watching them. And of all of them that I watched, today's game's canceled. I'm a bit bummed. Yeah, that sucks, bro. The best one I watched of all of them, except for, of course, Nicolas Cage in Color Out Space, because, I mean, he made that movie.
That's a great film.
Just him screaming and carrying on is, like, so good. But
Not the bees. Not the bees.
The Void.
Oh, God. I still think that the best is ever is on Community when Abed does the whole deep dive study on is Nicolas Cage a good actor or not, and he just gets to the point like, I'm a cat, I'm a sexy cat, meow.
Yep. Nicolas Cage is an amazing artist. He is just doing screen acting on, or not, no, stage acting on screen.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a slight deviation on that and say what it is that, and this is experience speaking, so take it for what it's worth.
I will.
these kinds of actors are really, really good when a director knows how to talk to the actor and how to direct the actor. What
Right.
happens in cases like this, you'll see Nicolas Cage do movies where he's fan-fucking-tastic, and that's because the director knew how to work with him. Keanu Reeves, same story. The problem is there's the majority of directors give more of a fuck about where their camera is, what the lighting looks like, and whether they're going to get their shot. They don't give a fuck about the acting. So when they look at the actor, they just go, and that's what the direction they give them. So Nicolas Cage, with no direction, is Nicolas freaking Cage, and that's acting to him, So it's just the nature of the beast. There was a director, I think it was McTiernan. I could be wrong, but I think it was McTiernan. A buddy of mine worked on a film with him. Said every scene, when they would set up to shoot, he'd sit the cast and crew down and explain to them the purpose of the scene. Like everybody, like the fucking electric guys got to sit there and listen to McTiernan. I think it was McTiernan explain, this is why we're doing the scene. This is the point of the scene for the script. This is what the whole thing is, and that's what we want to capture. So they all understood what the fuck they were doing and why they were doing it.
That sounds like early McTiernan, okay? Because I just watched The Predator, and that movie's shit, okay? Like there wasn't a single JSA from what you're saying right there that was given before any scenes, and the movie, The Predator.
Yeah, I think McTiernan is checked out by now, dude.
He's completely fucking just here for the retirement benefits. That's it.
Yeah, he must be, dude. The guy's old.
Because I know you weren't talking about the movie Predator, because
And he didn't direct Predator, by the way. It was directed by Shane Black.
Yeah.
Right. Because I was going to have to say, Bruce, I got to disagree with you on saying that's not a good movie.
No. I thought John McTiernan was part of The Predator from like 2013 or 17 or whenever that miserable movie came out. That was like the worst fucking Predator movie I've ever seen.
That was in 20... Christ.
Is that the one where they all like parachute onto a weird world and then...
No, that's Predators.
Predators. That's actually fairly intelligent compared to this.
2018 is what you're thinking of, and it was Shane Black who directed it and wrote it.
For some odd reason, why do I always think McTiernan was part of that movie? I know he was part of the first Predator movie, and I could see them doing a JSA before every fucking scene in that movie.
Well, I mean, Bear has a point. A lot of people like to go after the guy who played Anakin grown up.
Yep.
And they forget that dude has been in movies where he's actually really good.
Mm-hmm.
But in the Star Wars movie, he's a plank of wood. And that has to be because Lucas, that's how Lucas wanted him to be.
Okay. Listen, McTiernan, you got Die Hard with a Vengeance, Predator, Hunt for Red October, 13th Warrior, Rollerball, the remake. That's the one my buddy worked on, was Rollerball, the remake. Last Action Hero, Thomas Crown Affair. I mean, the guy's an amazing director. Let's be honest,
Now, why they cast a very distinguished Scotsman to be the Russian captain, I'll never know, but I still love Hunt for Red October.
Because tomorrow we sail into history.
I
could have
actually
picked
love
the
that
guy
movie.
from the Guy Ritchie film that played Boris the Bullet Dodger and had an actual Russian playing the captain.
Yeah, but okay, let me ask you a quick question.
Ask it.
Do you think the guy who played Boris the Bullet Dodger could deliver scenes of gravitas on the level of Sean Connery as an actor?
Probably not.
Exactly. Now you know why Sean Connery got cast. Oh, and also, Boris the Bullet Dodger is worth exactly $0 on the international market. Maybe we'll get something for him in Russia. Let's see how much Sean Connery's worth. Oh, fuck, we can get $5 million from Korea just for a movie with Sean Connery in it. Ding! That's how it works. Sad to say, that's how it works.
You know this, but all of the firefight scenes in the original Predator, our boy, former governor of Minnesota, took part in training the other actors in how to be, because I don't know if you know this or not, but he was a Navy SEAL. And originally Arnold was supposed to carry the rotary freaking gun, and he said, no way, I ain't doing that shit. So then
actually, I hate to correct you, James, but actually I trained the Predator on how to predate because I was an alien warrior during Vietnam.
That's
Now I
fucking
live in the
true.
Baja.
True.
It's very hard to use heat vision in the Baja because it's very hot.
Yeah. So Jesse picked up the rotary machine gun, that minigun. He's like, I got this. And they're like, okay.
I, on the other hand, watched Tombstone and Top Gun 2 the last few days.
Well, Tombstone will always be wonderful. It's Val Kilmer's best role.
Ooh.
I don't know. He was pretty fucking.
Ooh.
He's very good. He's amazing. It's one of his top 5 for sure. But I can watch Real Genius often. You know.
Oh,
My
I
favorite-
love Road Genius.
My wife's favorite movie of all time.
I'm going to tell you that Thunderheart is a movie that nobody has mentioned on social media, and that's one of his best roles, I thought.
Thunderheart was good too.
Well, I mean, he really didn't have a lot of bad roles.
All of Dr. Moreau was good. Val Kilmer's part, or what was it? The one where he's hunting lions.
Ghost in the
Shadows
Darkness.
in the Mist or something like that.
Ghost in the Darkness.
Yeah.
Shadows in the Mist, Ghosts in Darkness. They all sound like prod albums from the 70s. It's okay.
I like Frog.
Yeah, it was Val Kilmer and
Michael Douglas.
Michael Douglas.
Ghosts in
don't-
Darkness.
And it was based on a true story. That pair of lions did, in fact, eat over 100 and something railroad workers.
He
Don't
was really
forget-
good in The Saint, actually. Yeah, I agree with that on that.
Don't-
He
Matt.
was good in The Saint.
The Saint is good if you're a theater kid.
I
I'm
just
not
think
saying-
The Saint was good because it was like he was James Bond, but not James Bond.
there's a superhero story there, but it gets trampled over the healing story, and it gives him a chance to really like bring out his acting chops.
Except he's not really a superhero. He's just a super thief who becomes a hero because he falls in love. Otherwise, he would just stole that shit and auctioned it out to the highest bidder and called it a day. You know,
Yes. The 90s, when really hot young chicks were sold to us as scientific geniuses in movies, including Denise Richards as Dr. Whatever Christmas fuck in James Bond. Oh, that was the worst trend of casting that was going on at that point in time.
And at that point, you had the awkward blonde that was super nerdy doing
Elizabeth Shue.
Elizabeth
her
Shue.
thing. Yeah.
Literally the worst part of leaving Las Vegas. Elizabeth Shue.
That's sad because she usually is an actress, but that movie she sucked.
Leaving Las Vegas or The Saint?
The Leaving Las Vegas.
Must we choose? Because she kind of sucked in both of them.
Yeah,
She
I guess.
wasn't horrible in The Saint, but then again, there wasn't a lot put on her. All she had to do is act awkward and nerdy.
Elizabeth Shue has always reminded me of like she should be playing oh Christ, I forgot her name. Brat Pack, not Molly Ringwald, the other one, Ali Sheedy. She should be playing Ali Sheedy's character in the off-Broadway touring stage production of A Breakfast Club. That's what Elizabeth Shue makes me think every time I see her.
So awkward.
Awkward.
Just awkward as hell.
I'm just glad that they quit casting fucking Leone and everything.
Oh my God, those were. But that's okay. We've got the modern version of that. We've got Zendaya.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what I was going to say. I was going to say I'd take Taylor Leone over Zendaya and everything.
Between Zendaya and Rachel Ziegler, the space to walk between those sets of eyes is like days.
Yeah.
Wow. Harsh.
Real women have hairy backs. Not in any women I've ever been with.
Yeah, seriously.
You ever fucked a
They
Greek
do.
girl?
They need to take their asses to the day spa and get that straightened out. And if she's got hair that thick on her back, don't even think about what's going on in her butt crack.
James,
Looking around.
thank you, James, for making me think we need to get a weed whacker before she has a chili mac.
I bet you her bush goes all the way up to her belly button.
Ah!
And on the other note, the one Val Kilmer movie nobody mentioned was Heat.
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
that-
I mean, Heat. Come on.
Heat it's not a Val Kilmer movie. That's the point.
No,
is a
he's
movie Val
definitely
Kilmer
the
is
backup
in.
character.
He's the only
Yeah.
character that lives. And secondly, he does his best physical acting ever in that movie during the reload scene, because that scene has been used to train so many thousands of devil dogs and fucking army infantry.
Oh, that shootout scene where he's in the street of New York and he's got that little M4
LA.
commando.
Yeah.
He's
I
going
thought he had a
from car to
Colt.
car.
Isn't
What?
that Colt? I thought he had the Colt submachine gun in that one. Who has the Colt?
It's a Colt. Colt
It
makes
is the Colt. Yeah, he has the Colt. I know it's called
American
an
AR.
M4.
Yeah,
No, I just
Colt
know it's
makes
the
the
Colt.
American AR. So that little short carbine,
Yeah.
that's an M4. It's a Colt design, but we just make a billion of them. Everyone makes them. Springfield, name it. But that whole car to car fighting the NYPD, dropping the mag, loading the mag.
LAPD.
I mean, that is a badass. I mean, that is a good shooting scene.
Well, who
It
directed the
doesn't
film?
compare with Doc
Hey.
Holliday, though.
Who directed the film?
Michael Mann.
Oh, you mean the greatest fucking American director of the 20th century and now to be the 21st century because he got a movie coming out? Yes, Michael Mann
Wait. Hold on. You think Michael Mann
is the greatest American director of the 20th century. Yes, I do.
Wow.
I can go through his movie catalog and tell you exactly why each one of those movies is fucking amazing and why they're just different enough from his other movies to each make their own statement and be their own thing. With his fucking masterpiece being Band of the Hand.
Okay, I was gonna say, where's Band of the Hand Phil in here? Because that movie was
That
an
movie rocks.
86 fucking undiscovered gem until
That
somebody-
movie was fucking fantastic.
It's an amazing fucking movie that nobody knows. That's the problem.
We know that movie. We watched that together, bro. Where the freaking that movie was great.
It was amazing. I love Band of the Hand.
It's got one of
The
my
thing is
favorite actresses in it.
So, he could shoot LA like no one's business, right? Like he was really good at shooting LA. He understood the lighting really well. And it was the old solenoid lighting that they had in LA. So LA at night would have this yellowish color to it because of the types of lights. I got to be in LA in 2002. And that was just, I think, the year before they took away the solenoid lights. And they put in those weird blue fucking lights they have now. So I was walking around fucking Santa Monica at 11 o'clock or something like that. And I just turned down this street and it was just all the businesses were closed and most of the lights were off, but it was all those yellow street lights on. And I was like, holy fuck, I'm standing in a Michael Mann film right now. Like, this is amazing. This is visually blows my mind. Hell of a director. Hell. Look,
I am
Collateral.
so
Tom Cruise's best
thankful
fucking film is Collateral.
Face.
So, wait. Tom Cruise's best film is Collateral. Man, I got to disagree with you hardcore.
You can disagree with me all you like. You're allowed to be wrong. It's your right as an American.
No, I think that Top Gun was his shining movie.
Oh, get the fuck out. Top Gun is barely contained gay symbolism.
Don't you talk about Top Gun like that?
I will talk about Top Gun.
You
later.
will offend
I
a
will.
certain segment of society if you start going after Top Gun.
Listen, I think Top Gun's
It
a good
is the
movie.
most homoerotic movie
It is
ever
the
put out.
most homoerotic movie ever fucking made that isn't a gay porn.
When they're playing volleyball on the beach and the song in the background is what is it? Weekends are for the boys or
Hanging
something.
with the boys.
You can
Hanging
ride
with
my
the
tail
boys.
anytime. No, you can ride mine. Oh,
And
come
the
on.
only time he bangs the blonde love interest
Is after she dresses like a
dressed
dude.
up like a man.
Thank you.
It's not.
And then later on, Kelly McGillis looks Bear's got a more svelte figure than she does now.
Well,
more
I mean,
svelte
you
than
know.
Kelly McGillis currently. Yes, that is true.
She-
Anyway, but
she
no.
grew into it.
So Collateral, Manhunter. How much fucking better than Silence of the Lambs is Manhunter?
Okay, I haven't seen Manhunter, so forgive
Oh
me.
my God, we have to watch it on your fucking show. Just so you can see the difference between a real actor, Brian Cox, playing fucking Hannibal Lecter, and over-the-top cartoonism of Anthony Hopkins that everybody loves. Night and day difference in their performances. When you see Brian Cox play Hannibal Lecter, you feel creeped out. You feel like, I get it. I understand why people talked to this guy and trusted him. Oh, fuck. Whereas with fucking Anthony Hopkins, I'm like, what the fuck is that? Grow up. Fuck.
Oh my god!
Yeah, but Anthony Hopkins is a good actor.
Tremendous actor.
Can't be argued. He's a
Tremendous
good
actor, Anthony
It's
Hopkins.
just-
I will never take that away from him.
like
but
you
his
said,
Hannibal
he
Lecter
does
is too
what
over the
his
top.
director tells him to do.
Exactly.
I mean, I can't believe we've talked all these old movies and no one. I'm getting ready to mention it though. Gross Point Blank. As a matter of fact, all of the movies that had John Cusack in it in the 80s and early 90s.
John Cusack should be a bigger star than he is.
He's completely sabotaged himself.
Yeah.
I love John Cusack movies. Every movie I've ever seen with him in it has been great.
You know that Gross Point Blank is like low key a sequel to Say Anything, right?
Really.
Low key. It's not official, but you can do the headcanon to go, yeah, this is kind of like the fucking sequel of him coming back.
That's
Kind
not
of like the way The
that's not
Rock
what-
is a James Bond film.
Exactly.
that's what, like when I always say that
Sean Connery
Lo-
was saying he wasn't James Bond, but he
Lo-
really was.
Lost Boys is a sequel to Stand By Me with
I've
Kiefer
heard that before.
Because
Kiefer
Kiefer
Sutherland.
Sutherland's character is the same character.
Kiefer Sutherland's character got ran out of town. This is my theory. Kiefer
Okay.
Sutherland's character got ran out of town after he did all that bullshit and Stand By Me, ended up in California, got turned into a vampire, and started up that little clique there.
You know what?
He's already a
It
bad
works.
dude, you know?
It works that he winds up in Santa Clarita. That's funny.
Yeah.
I like that.
Because he was the original Corn Pop.
Oh my god!
He was a bad dude. Carried a knife and a chain. Is the movie Hannibal finds out that he ate his sister along with the guys he hunted down?
No, Red Dragon is about the Tooth Fairy. It's the first story in the series, and it's about the guy trying to basically the FBI profiler trying to catch this fucking serial killer that they're calling the Tooth Fairy, and to get inside his head, he goes to see the guy he captured that broke him and made him retire, which is Hannibal Lecter, to get help, and it's fucking amazing, that movie.
Now-
Michael
now
Mann.
I can say something about a John Cusack movie that I can say one thing and everybody knows what I'm talking about. $2.
$2.
Better off dead. My favorite
Give me an
thing
idea
in
the street
that
value of this
movie,
mountain.
my favorite thing in that movie was the Chinese brothers.
Oh yeah.
They'd always
For
pull
the
up
day
next
for
to him at
racing.
flight and harass him. One spoke no English, and the only one learned English from watching Howard
Howard
Cosell.
Cosell. Yeah.
Or his little brother who's
What
got
did
a
he say? Hungar, he's like the portrait of a loser. He was just
Portrait of a
what's
loser.
on top of everything. Now a shallow man.
not a shadow of a man. You know,
I
it's
still
like-
though for me it's always gonna be Curtis what's his name? Armstrong. When they're on top of the mountain and he's like, Snow, do you have any idea the street value of this mountain? And I'm just like, what a fucking line. But that's a Savage Steve Holland film, right?
Right.
Savage
Yeah.
Steve Holland Savage Steve Holland was like the goofy version of John Hughes. You know what I mean? They both did the same style of movie, but Savage Steve Holland's were over the top.
Right. Well, yeah, because in that movie, there's a whole scene where hamburgers
Yes.
sing.
To Everybody Wants Some by Van Halen.
David Lee Roth, or Van Halen.
How about when it's a damn shame when somebody throws away a perfectly good white boy.
Really good white boy like that.
Yeah, he's just laying in the back of the garbage truck, and the brothers are just like, "Now that's a damn shame to throw away a perfectly good white boy."
I recently watched One Crazy Summer, and I'd never seen it when it came out, and I believe that's a Steve Holland film too. And
That's a
boy,
great film.
It was actually a lot of fun. I really enjoyed the fuck out of that movie.
Yep. And you
And-
are right. I don't know what John Cusack did and why he's not like an A-lister actor, but
You know, he was
somehow
up.
managed to do something.
He's difficult to work with, from what I heard.
Well, lots of people are. Look at Devil's Apprentice. he was up for the role that Keanu Reeves got. Imagine how much better that movie would have been with John Cusack being able to actually emote opposite Al Pacino.
Right.
Like, that's a great movie, except for the hero. The hero is barely watchable in that fucking film.
There's a lot of movies like that, though.
Yeah.
The Val Kilmer Batman movie, nobody talked about because Val hated the fucking suit. He had such a hard time in that movie.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. I was just going off before you joined on my little rampage, and I'm not even a comic book guy. I don't really have any skin in the game that much, but I do know that Bane was a super genius. Whether he was on the Venom or not, he was a super genius who had been a cartel leader. There's no way Bane is working for Poison Ivy. It's not happening. Now, he did break Batman's back, though. That's true. But he, while he's in prison, agreed to be experimented on. And then he memorized how they made the venom. And then he killed everyone who knew anything about it and escaped the prison. And that's Bane.
Yeah.
So they made him into this big lumbering idiot. And it's like, no, the reason Bane beat Batman is because, like Batman, Bane was a fucking super genius. You know, he could fight, obviously, but he could think. So making him a dumb lug that's following what's her name around.
That's everybody in Batman movies, though. Everybody's got fucking PhDs and shit.
Not everybody. And also, as much as I love Schwarzenegger, making him Mr. Freeze was just like, everybody freeze.
Okay.
It's like, no, that should have been Patrick.
Hang on. I'm working on Battlefield Earth, and the effects guys are from LA, and we're just talking about that movie. Well, because we're sitting in the chair for like 2 hours, 3 hours every day getting our makeup done for the aliens.
Oh, yeah.
So we talk about whatever the fuck we can talk about. And we just started doing fucking. One day, one of the guys goes, "Can you imagine the script read through for fucking that movie? Like, everybody's at the table. Schwarzenegger shows up late with a cigar, and he just goes, all right, I took some notes for the screen. Here's what's going to be. Everybody chill. All right, be cool. Everybody freeze. That's it. I'm out." And he leaves. You know, it's like
The weekend walked out.
Yeah.
It
So
was
there was
like they tried to make it so campy, and really, Dr. Freeze needed Patrick Stewart.
He would have been great. Actually, at that moment in time, given the age, you could have brought Michael Ansara on, the guy who did the voice on the animated show.
Right. You needed a big, kind of skinny, kind of bald, guy that was a thinker. I mean, dude was a scientist, and whatever. But apparently I found out in the comic books, he finally did cure his wife, and she left him and become like a filthy whore.
No, that's not from the comics. That's from the Harley Quinn TV show.
Oh, well, then there you go.
Yeah.
Another travesty of justice.
Another travesty of modern writers who don't understand classic things.
Right. Yeah. So that's why that's who I feel the worst for in modern society, really, is the old nerds that were like super attached to comic books, because they got done dirty. You know what I mean? It's like everyone that they cared about got done dirty. And I can have the semblance of empathy sometimes. And those guys I feel bad for. Now, the shit I like is so obscure that it'll never be fucked with.
Such as?
Just anything Lovecraftian.
And yet they fuck with Lovecraft every year.
They do, and I ignore it.
Well, there you go. So you can ignore the other stuff too.
Because it's not something that... But if you're a comic book fan, you're a lot more beholden to see what your hero's doing.
I disagree. Now, this could just be me, but they've changed things so many fucking times over the years in comics that I've just gone to the point that the stuff I remember is the stuff I like, and that's it. I don't need to worry about the new shit.
Exactly. Right. That's why I quit buying and reading comics in the 90s.
Except for one.
There's a movie coming out that I gotta ask you guys. Did you see the new trailer for the Superman film?
Yep.
Nope.
I can't wait till it comes out. I'm
Why?
actually going to go see it in the theater
Why?
because they're doing crypto right, which is kind of the same era that I have read most of the Superman stuff from like the 60s and early 70s. I read my uncle's collection, and crypto was really not a good dog. He was a dog. He was not a good dog. He was an asshole dog. Worse, he was an asshole dog that would like have infinite hit points and a very high armor class. So it was tough to fuck with him. And then whenever he sees Superman in the trailer, Superman fell to earth. He's broken. Crypto gets whistled. So when Crypto arrives, he jumps on Superman. He's happy to see him.
Yeah, that was actually really funny. The whole thing of Superman lying there, and he's like, "Oh!" Then Crypto runs up and jumps on him. He's like, "Oh no, Crypto, no!" That was funny. That was pretty good.
I was waiting for him to redo Superman with a brother and have it the Man of Steel, Steal.
They redid Superman as a brother. Is the thing people don't understand. He was called Black Adam. It's
Black
just
Adam.
not anybody's fault that they did him wrong.
Black Adam is Captain Marvel.
No, Black Adam's like super powered as hell. He like,
Yeah, he's as powerful as Captain Marvel, Shazam.
oh yeah, Shazam.
He's from
Right.
that
You got me.
continuity.
Use the old title
Yeah.
and effed me up.
Yeah, because fuck that. Why would if the magic word that gives you your powers, Shazam, boom, or takes them away, Shazam, boom, I'm normal again. Why would that be your name? Who are you? I'm Shazam, boom. Like, what the fuck? Like, you could never introduce yourself.
Okay. Still, who was played by Shaquille O'Neal there for a minute.
Shazam.
Isn't he also part of Superman
He
somehow?
played Steel. So Shaquille O'Neal played Steel in the movie Steel.
Right.
But that's not part of the Captain Marvel Shazam, the Marvel family.
No, that's DC. He's
Yeah,
like,
but in
Black
okay, so in
Superman.
DC you have the Marvel. Okay.
yeah,
Let's go back in
explain
time.
because I don't know comics.
So in the late 1940s, early 1950s, there's this comic called Captain Marvel that comes out, and it's got Billy Batson, the kid who becomes a superhero, and it is outselling Superman. It is the #1 comic for years. And
Well,
DC
imagine a lot of kids
National
were like,
Press-
I want to get a hold of this.
they're losing their shit, so they take them to court and they sue them. And the judge, even though they made tons of points of going, look, these are the differences between the characters. It is not a rip-off character. It's just an archetype. The judge, which many people think was on the take, sided with National Press and has forced Fawcett to stop producing their hero, which put them into bankruptcy, which led to DC buying the rights to Shazam Captain Marvel. But then Marvel comes along in the 60s and puts out a character called Captain Marvel, Marvel. And suddenly DC can't print a comic with the words Captain Marvel on the cover without winding up in court. So they have to they call him Captain Thunder at one point, and they have him show up and fight Superman, and then that's gotten retconned to he was an evil Captain Marvel. Then eventually they made the deal that they could call him Captain Marvel in the book, but they couldn't put it on the title, so they started putting the title as Shazam. And the problem is that as the years went on, people looking at the title of the book that says Shazam thought that was the name of the character after a while, that he became Shazam at that point in time.
Okay,
all
now,
those characters are
Captain
from,
Marvel had the boob window.
that's Power Girl.
I loved her.
Power
She had
Girl,
a good outfit.
Power Girl is the Earth
I can
2.
love her 2 or 3 times a day.
Even at my age, I'd have to do something. You know what they say? Just because you can't cut mustard, don't mean you can't lick the jar.
Jesus, bro.
Hey, that's what Marcus's dad told me one time, and he was like 90.
He told me the same thing.
Wow. Ooh. I know what my new go-to is.
The whole time. Oh fuck!
Well played, sir. I would recommend dropping the mic after a line like that in the future.
Do we just end the stream right now? Sorry.
End on a high note.
Yeah.
You can
No,
only
I'm
go
learning
downhill from
stuff.
here.
I'm learning stuff from Bear about superheroes and shit. I never knew because I never.
Anyway, so the Marvel family is the Captain Marvel character. So Captain Marvel Jr., Mary Marvel, Hoppy the Marvel Bunny. There's a bunch of them, and Black Adam is their antithesis. He's the enemy of them. He's basically, he has the power of the wizard, but he has a different word he says. It isn't Shazam. I can't remember what it is. And that makes him Black Adam. So Black Adam really isn't a Superman villain. They just dig him out every time they need someone to punch Superman in the face. It isn't Doomsday.
Somebody that Superman can hit that won't instantly red mist into pink.
And someone who can hit Superman and do some damage to him.
Hey, I saw a cartoon, and you know who else gave Superman a pretty good fight for about a minute?
Who's that?
Lobo. The last Zarnian.
Yes.
But I mean, in the end, Superman just wrecked him.
Well,
it's like when Superman got really mad about everything, it was like it was over.
Lobo
He
was
kept trying to talk to Lobo, and Lobo kept hitting him and shit. And eventually, you could see the look on Superman's face where he's like, "Okay,
I'm about done with this.
11."
When they introduced Lobo, Lobo was meant to be a spoof of Wolverine.
When
Like Wolverine was so over the top in the 90s, they were like, "Fine, this is how stupid Wolverine is. Let's bring in this character Lobo." And the one power he had that they took away eventually was that when you made him bleed, every drop of blood sprung up a new Lobo.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hungar had bought, and I still have somewhere in the collection, the very first appearance of Lobo.
Oh,
And
yeah.
he's got like a big afro, a big purple afro, and he's wearing like spandex. And he kidnapped somebody from like the Avengers or some shit. I don't know. One of those superhero teams.
It was Omega Man. I don't remember the volume number, but it was an Omega Man comic.
Right.
And he kidnapped the chick, and he's got her on front of his motorcycle.
And he's like cruising around. And then I guess people were like, WTF, what is this? And then they reintroduced him as a giant biker.
I had a lot of the Lobo comic books, Paramilitary Christmas Special.
Yeah.
Tongue firmly in cheek.
Yeah.
Do not take Lobo serious. He went to war with both heaven and hell. And he wiped out his own species just because he wanted to feel special and be the only one.
And he did a hit on Santa Claus for
He went to war with Santa Claus. That was not easy either because it turns out the elves were all packing heat. So, that was a thing. And Santa Claus was a mean old bastard, and good at fighting.
Well, the Easter Bunny hired him.
Yeah, but it turns out that Lobo, as long as any part of him lives or survives whatever, he'll just come back.
And you get a drink. I'll be right back.
And to humanize Lobo, they gave him a dog and a love for dolphins. And that's about it. Plus, he don't kill kids. He does have kind of a code of ethics.
Yeah, the only kids he kills are Zarnians.
Yeah, but he will not go out of his way to kill kids. And typically not women either, unless, they're super powered or something. Where are you?
Or looks like it.
I have an interesting movie theory.
I love movie theories.
What if the Time Machine is the sequel to the Black Hole?
Oh, that'd be funny. What are you opening that's giving you such a hard time?
What?
What are you opening that's giving you such a hard time?
Nothing. I'm frying up some burgers.
Oh, okay.
Well, you got Yvette Mimieux, who is the lead actress in both movies,
Right.
and that's why I was saying the Time Machine is really just a sequel to the Black Hole.
Could be. I gotta find the perfect green to paint this guy's coat because I have, for no good reason, and I doubt he'll ever be used ever, but he will be put on a display. I have Ryan Gosling's Nexus 9 Replicant Hunter.
Cool.
Yeah, I found STLs for like all kinds of. I found STLs where they took real life people and turned them into Lovecraft, so Call of Cthulhu adventurers that you could play. Like one of them is something Bryson, but if you look at it, you can tell it's Mike Tyson.
I say I still got the best STL. They took a real live Hungar.
Yeah, that's true. And then we got this guy right here, and his name is
Toby.
no Mick McConnor or something instead of Connor McGinnis.
Huh.
So it's just a Mick getting ready to punch somebody in the head. And so if you want to play, a boxer, they've got, Mike Tyson.
Hey,
But hey, what's up, Leth?
not much.
But he's not called Mike Tyson. They took like
Put
this.
the dogs out and start on dinner, guys. I'll see you later.
See you
Oh,
later,
well,
homie.
see ya.
Take care,
I
buddy.
guess I scared you off, huh?
Like this little girl right here is called Sunday. She got a book and a knife. Obviously, it's Wednesday, but they call her Sunday. Here he is. And then you've got dressed up in 1920 style. And I swear to God, the face looks just like Mike. But they called him something else. It was like, Tyson something or other. But I mean, if you actually held it in your hand and looked at it, you'd be like, damn, that's Mike Tyson.
That's Mike Tyson.
Let's all play Mike Tyson Punch Out now.
And what was really strange, but I had to make it, is Leonardo DiCaprio. It's Leonardo DiCaprio in a suit toasting with his champagne glass.
Why couldn't you get DiCaprio and Romeo and Juliet?
Because this is the one they had. And it's 1920s, so it's the meme where he's always like toasting, like it's
Yeah.
that meme.
But come
Now,
on.
I got a Leonardo DiCaprio somewhere around here. I don't know. Leonardo DiCaprio is win one of these three.
Somebody made a joke last night on the TV show I was watching about Leonardo DiCaprio. It was so funny. It was
Anybody seen that Romeo and Juliet?
Yes, of course. I loved it. It talked about like how Leonardo DiCaprio won't date anybody over like 23.
I mean, I really can't blame him. He doesn't want to deal with somebody else's child.
I feel like he is dealing with somebody else's child. He's my age.
When you're porking girls that are that young, yeah, you basically are.
I mean, that you know what though, he does it the perfect way, I guess. It's like he dates them for a while and then he sends them on their way. It's not like he's trying to have a relationship with them or anything.
No. He's just rent a vag.
Right. And it's like it's like if somebody wants to get mad about it, they have to remember that the 20-something-year-old woman, she made the decision. She knows the deal. I mean, everyone knows the deal. This is Leonardo DiCaprio. When you turn 25, you're out the door. You know what I mean? It's like, so I also got, some of you may remember from the books, a miniature of Brown Jenkins. Brown Jenkins was the rat-like creature that had a semi-human-like face
Mm-hmm.
that always hung out with the old witch and in the end ate the heart out of the protagonist in what was the name of that novel? But also it had to do with going to see Hastur and all kinds of crazy shit like that. Brown Jenkins was like a local nightmare, like cryptid in that part of the city. People would talk about having seen Brown Jenkins out and about. And every time anybody's seen Brown Jenkins, a small child would go missing. And it was because he was the familiar of the witch who was sacrificing a child every solstice or some shit. And using, because this is Lovecraft we're talking about here. If you want to travel between dimensions, you don't say just magic words. There has to be the correct geometry. Because in Lovecraft, it's all about geometry. It's all about math. You know, like the shape of space is a thing. And so this guy rents a cheap ass room while he's going to college. And the room's like really weirdly shaped. And then he starts having nightmares of a witch. And it goes on until he starts going with the witch to other dimensions.
Dreams in the Witch House?
Yeah, that's the one. And then eventually he meets the Black Pharaoh, who asks him to sign his name in the book in blood, but he doesn't. And then eventually gets killed. Because, you know, Nyarlathotep don't take no for an answer. You know what I'm saying?
Big Vic is here.
I see that. The king of the reprobates. He must be home from work. He was on the road yesterday. But anyway, so for no reason, because I will not be running Call of Cthulhu for at least who knows how long, years. But I have 3D printed out like 50 Call of Cthulhu characters and monsters. Like right now in my UV box, I've got a Hound of Tindalos, a Hunting Horror, a couple of Flying Polyps. I did just put this guy together, which I had to, he was multi-part. This is one of the main Shub-Niggurath children. You know, the black
Go to the woods.
The mother of 1,000 young.
Yeah, there's little ones too, and I didn't even know this, but the same STL that came with him came with these satyr-looking creatures who are also considered to be either the daughters of Shub-Niggurath or humans who drank the milk of Shub-Niggurath. Because if you drink the milk of Shub-Niggurath, it mutates you into something.
La La Land.
Well, it's because she is the most ancient fertility goddess that humans ever worshipped. If it is even a she, really. You know, it's like, it is a thing beyond comprehension that is constantly giving birth to life and also constantly destroying it. So kind of like Kali.
I'm sharing a picture with you or a screenshot with you because you need to see this. All of us need to see this to know. Just imagine how insane this must have been.
Okay. Okay, where is it? It's right there. Okay. Oh, I hit the wrong button. Let's hit the right button.
1974 Lincoln Center, Christopher Lloyd and Christopher Walken in Macbeth.
Oh my goodness.
That would be awesome.
How
Look at Christopher Lloyd as a young man. He looks like a guy that might throw down in a scrap, man.
Yeah, he does.
And that's the guy that went on to become the Doctor, running around. Mighty.
Right, he was Reverend
21
Jim
gigawatts.
He was also a freaking Klingon
First. Reverend
with
Jim.
a Yiddish
we
accent.
are Klingons. Captain Kirk, this is your opponent.
Yeah. Yeah. Captain Koik. You're not a mensch, and I'm here to get you.
I would,
It's like, what are you doing? Hire the most Yiddish actor you can find to play Klingon.
Captain Kirk, give me the Genesis device. No. Okie doke.
Okie dokie then. I'll have my lawyer contact your lawyer. We'll see about this. But then again, should anybody be surprised since like 90% of the original cast of the original Star Trek were Jewish people? Shatner's
90%?
Jewish, Nimoy's Jewish.
That's it. You're
Freaking,
done.
I'm pretty sure the Russian guy Chekhov Jewish.
Walter Koenig, is he Jewish?
Koenig.
He didn't come in until second season, so he doesn't count. You said the original.
Okay, I meant the old school series, but yeah,
I
okay,
know, I'm just
I'll give
fucking with
that
you.
to you.
I'm just fucking. Was Walter Koenig? Let me see. Is he Jewish?
You know the Shat was.
Yeah, he's from Montreal, dude.
And Nimoy actually fled Russia about the same
Yeah,
time.
Koenig's parents were Russian Jewish immigrants. Yeah.
And Nimoy fled Russia about the same time my great grandmother did. So, yeah. The only one who wasn't was like DeForest Kelly and
Scotty.
the guy who played Scotty.
Jane,
And of
James
course,
Doohan,
I'm
and,
talking the main guys.
George
Throw
Takei,
her in there. She's
Michelle
not.
Nichols.
I mean, I'm talking the holy trinity of Star Trek.
Okay, then that's not even 90% at that point. That's 2/3.
2/3 is still good.
Yeah.
I mean, the holy trinity is Doc,
Kirk, Spock, and Pike.
and Kirk.
Yeah.
because-
But, okay, you know why that's the
Like
Holy
on
Trinity?
either side of Kirk saying
Right.
the
Because
thing.
it's body, mind, and soul. Kirk is the body, Spock is the mind, and McCoy is the soul. So the mind and the soul inform the body with their opinions of what to do, and then the body chooses which way to act. That's why that dynamic works so fucking well from
That's
the
why
writing.
it's so perfect. Yeah.
Yes. And it's something modern writers don't understand, and even TNG didn't understand. They threw in 7 main characters. Jesus Christ, we don't need 7 main characters. We need 3.
Okay.
And
I
Uhura
hate
is nice to
D&D.
look at
I'm
and all,
sorry.
guys, but she doesn't need to be a main character ever. Like maybe in one episode, but otherwise she needs to set at her commo station and do commo station shit. As a matter of fact, kind of like in Galaxy Quest, she should have just been like that girl. He just sat there and repeated whatever the computer said.
I don't know. This is my
I
job.
do
Just let me have
one
this.
job on this ship. And I do
Yeah,
it very well.
Yeah.
I love Galaxy Quest, especially
too.
what's his name? The guy that played Monk, Shabat
Tony Shalhoub.
or whatever. his
Tony
name is.
Shalhoub. Tony Shalhoub.
Shalhoub.
Is that another Jewish name?
Yes.
Okay.
He's,
he's
either
not, he's
Jewish or
Lebanese.
Turkish. I think he's Arabic.
He's Lebanese, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's Arabic, actually.
Yeah.
Scotty was missing a finger from being wounded on D-Day. Damn.
That there's
got
debate on
shot
that.
like
Because
7 times.
his wife said, and she used to say that no, he didn't. He cut it off by accident while gardening. He wasn't paying attention. He cut his own finger off. So there was a lot of debate on that, and like it was, is it real or is his wife just fucking with him? Right? Like who
I would
knows?
say the wife was just effing around because that's
Who
what
knows?
wives do.
I mean, it is a fact, or they posted that on IMDb that he lost it in fucking military action.
Yeah, IMDb posts a lot of bullshit, dude. I can go get my account and go edit my account anytime I want. Shalhoub's Lebanese Christian.
Yeah, I know he was Arabic.
Yeah, Lebanese Christian, but he was raised in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Well, there you go. And he was great as Monk, and he was also great as the engineer. He was the only one when everyone else was freaking out. He was just like,
Hey, man,
So
there's a thing following the ship.
starts making out with the tentacle monster, and everybody's just like, okay.
I
Yeah.
can tell her too.
But, things are going bad down here, just so you know. So he was so
Things
chill.
are going bad.
Yeah.
Just let you know.
You know. Yeah, he's good in everything though. He was great in Monk. I watched the shit out of Monk, but
Nope.
I was that guy too. I watched the shit out of Columbo, and I
Oh,
love
yes.
Columbo's tactic, which was ask you a shit ton of questions, say he was done, turn to walk away, and then stop and turn
Oh,
around.
one
and say,
more
"Just
thing."
One more thing.
One more thing before I go with this cockeye thing that he would do. Yeah,
And it was always that one more thing that effed you. Whatever
Not bad.
the one more thing was, it was going to be the thing.
I
So he
actually
was
like that
setting you
because Somebody
wounded
actually
5 times in World War II. I would believe it. I mean, fucking, who was it? They say maybe Captain Kangaroo was a Marine or some shit.
No, it's
Oh, he's-
Oh, he's a sailor.
no. The
or
guy who
someone.
paints Bob.
Bob Ross
Ross,
was in the
uh,
Air Force.
Air Force.
Yeah,
yeah.
I think it was a Marine. Oh, okay.
He was in the Air Force, but he was also a drill instructor. And after he got done doing his time as drill instructor, he made an oath to himself that he'd never raise his voice again. And that's
Wow.
why he talks the way he talks. And he learned his whole style painting off
Yeah,
of a
done
guy
work.
that was a prisoner of war from World War II.
I am officially done work for the day. Let's fucking party, bitches.
Yeah, there was this guy that got captured that was German, and he was a painter. So somehow, in the course of things, he didn't get given to Stalin to be, murdered, and he ended up, because he wasn't like anyone big, he's just some Wehrmacht soldier that knew how to paint. So he moved to Alaska, and that's where Bob Ross met him. And Bob Ross apprenticed to this old German soldier and learned all the whole paint everything with a thin coat of clear because it makes it easier to, and then Bob Ross went on and did his thing. But yeah, he was in Anchorage. There's an Air Force base right outside of Anchorage. Like, I've been to it because when I was up there, I was hanging out with my bio. And since he's a disabled veteran, 100%, he can use PXs on any military base, which means you can buy shit tax-free. So even though it was like an hour and a half drive from Eagle River to the north to Anchorage, sometimes, he'd drive down there and go shopping at the PX and see the doctor because he could see any military doctor or whatever. So, right. More than you needed to know, but that's Bob Ross. He spent a lot of time in Alaska. He learned to paint in Alaska. That's why he does all the mountains with snow everywhere. Indorf Air Force Base, right near the school you went to. Yeah. I told everybody how you were dating that Inuit girl too, or Kikchuk or whatever she was back then. Like,
Aleutian?
I've got a picture around here somewhere of Hungar at the Blue Glacier and, just hanging out in his big freaking, looked like a starfish, like from the Christmas Story. You know what I mean? He's got so many layers on. He's just like, he was young back then. My brother. Yep. Charles Bronson nearly died from being wounded in a B-29 raid on Japan. I have a great uncle on my stepdad's side, so he's not related by blood, but he was a Liberator bomber, and he was shot down over German territory, and his body was never recovered. He was pronounced dead because we assume, since he was Jewish and his dog tag said Jewish, that if he did get captured over German territory, they probably would have just shot him and chucked him in a ditch. So, but those liberators, they went down all the time, like 20 would go on a mission and 12 would come back. I mean, it is a bad time. People volunteered for it though.
What I always thought was sad was there was a rumor growing up that Fred Rogers was a sniper in World War II, which that turned out to be a lie.
Or the story about Mr. Rogers. You always hear the story that Mr. Rogers is something, but I don't know if it's true or not. But I mean, a lot of those guys work 100%. I mean, a lot of those dudes, especially if you're talking classic Trek, that was the right generation to have stormed a beach at Normandy or something.
Yeah.
They were right in that range. So,
Yeah. To be honest, Scotty would have stormed the beach at Juneau.
True.
Canadian.
Ian.
And if you ever want to look up numbers,
Yeah, you
There's a
guys
reason.
got the easy beach. It's okay.
Oh yeah, Juneau was the easy beach. there's a reason why the Allied command was like, let's just give the Canadians their own beach.
James laughs in troll. Ha ha ha. They never
Yeah, no,
gave the
we were
Canadians
the only
anything
ones.
easy, did they?
Canada was the only ones to secure all their objectives and push so far in that they had to stop. Like the Canadians were just like, well, let's kill everybody in sight. Let's go.
Well, it's easy to understand. They missed their they were missing their donuts and beer.
My
and Tim
my uncle
Hortons.
was there. My uncle
And all
was
the Canadians got together and decided if we can get this war over, the sooner the better, because we want to get home. I miss donuts and beer.
So my uncle was part of Juno Beach. He was in the what they call the North Shore Regiment, which is from New Brunswick, and then he was part of the liberation of the Netherlands. And he said that was the shittier part. I'm like, really? Like that was worse than Juno Beach? He goes, the Germans dynamited most of the dams, so we were fighting in like 2.5 feet of water, and it was cold. I'm like, okay, that's fair. Oh, yeah, all right.
That's the thing that bothered him. It was
Yeah,
cold.
that was the thing that bothered him. Yeah.
Let's go.
He was a pikeman. He hated his job because pikemen had to ride on the outside of the tank. And he's like, well, this sucks because now I'm a target and I have explosives on me. What the fuck?
Why did they have to ride on the outside of the tank? If you
Don't know.
if-
Probably because the pike wouldn't fit in the tank because they were pretty big.
Mhm.
Uh,
And basically, his job was to make sure no one ran up and blew the tank up.
well, or if you saw an enemy tank, fire on it before, it got beat on you.
Okay. I know that was the whole point of the Russian tank riders is they got so sick and tired of the Wehrmacht taking their tanks out with infantry tactics that the only thing they could think of was to throw 6 to 8 dudes on the back with submachine guns.
It works, right? And
Well,
Dungeon
it
Master is
stopped
correct.
the Wehrmacht guys from running up and throwing magnetic mines and shit at them. However, it also meant that if an anti-tank gun or another tank took your tank out, well, sorry about your luck,
Yeah.
because you're going with it. But hey, let's be honest, Stalin didn't really care about losses, so
Well, the one thing I could say about Uncle Ken was he was the nicest, goofiest human being I ever knew. Like he was just one of those people. Like he was like that Robin Williams type energy where everything was a joke and everything was have a good time and laugh and laugh and laugh. And it wasn't until years later I understood why he felt that way.
because he's
went
hiding
through-
his depression.
No, because he came to terms with the idea. That man was never depressed. He came to terms with the mentality of I lived through that. It's all fucking gravy from now on.
Yeah.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Understandable. It's like if you live through that, then what's the thing? What do you got to worry about?
Seriously.
Nothing.
He never talked much about the war, but after we watched Saving Private Ryan, as we were watching it, he leaned over during the storming of the beach. He went, "Yeah, it was like that, except a lot more guys were dying." And I was like, "Oh, okay, interesting note." And then later, when they throw the grenade through the window and it blows up and some guys fly out, he just leans over and goes, "Yeah, that doesn't happen." And there's a bang and then a bunch of guys fall down.
No one flies. Yeah,
I'm
they
like, okay.
don't fly. That was all Hollywood.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, fair, good to know.
Everything I know about war, besides the one I was in, I was told by relatives in Vietnam. So I don't know much about World War II that much, except what I read and what I hear.
Yeah, I was lucky because I had family that were there. I knew a girl whose father was in Vietnam, and he's the guy who told me he goes, "Yeah, we had a rule. The rule was when you're out of ammo, you have to go back to camp. You're not allowed to stay in the jungle if you're out of ammo." So he goes, every time we would hear a noise in the jungle, the entire squad would just empty their fucking magazines into the jungle and be like, "Oh, gotta go back to camp. Too bad."
Too bad.
I'm like, that's fucking genius. And it makes that scene in Predator where they're just fucking shooting the shit out of the jungle even better.
Yeah.
That was pretty realistic.
I will say this, Mad Cat, that believe it or not, the Russians did have some half tracks. They were American made, but they weren't huge fans of them for some reason. As soon as they could replace them with their own trucks, the Zis and the what was the other one they were a fan of, they did. Just like we sent them a shit ton of tanks of the Lee Grant variety, but as soon as they could replace them bastards with domestic made vehicles, they did, because they were just like, thanks for the help with these things, but we hate them.
But before we got involved in World War II, didn't we put the majority of infantry or fighting vehicles or tanks? Didn't we put the majority of those in the war under other people's flags?
Well, the Lend-Lease, which was a blessing to Europe and Russia.
On a happier note, sharing a picture that I think all of us would enjoy.
Yeah.
John Carpenter finally got his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Well,
Are you
nice.
kidding me?
If anybody deserved it, it's him.
And look at this picture down there. Kurt Russell and Keith David side by side. Which one's the thing, man? Which
one is the
They're
thing?
both.
We'll never know.
They're both the thing.
Are they both the thing? That
I
would
don't
be
think so.
even bigger of an FU.
Wouldn't make sense though, because the thing would know what it is, right? It must be able to.
Now, somebody apparently wrote a book in which they depict the thing as not a bad guy.
Well, it's from the point of view of the thing, and it's just its mentality is, I'm trying to bring harmony to this species. Why are they so angry about it?
Have you ever read it? It's
No.
really good.
Is it
I
good?
saw
It's really
Quinn's
good.
ideas.
The things actually got awards when it came out, and you can find it online for free to
Yeah.
read off a webpage.
Have you ever watched Quinn's Ideas, Bruce?
No.
Quinn's Ideas is this guy, and he basically just does reviews of weird, scary books. I've learned
He made his name doing Dune videos.
he did do a shit ton of in-depth Dune videos. That's a fact.
Yeah.
But he also talks about this book, which is how I know about it. And it's like the thing had been to like who knows how many hundreds or thousands of star systems, uniting them all into this big one giant consciousness and getting rid of all the bad things. No one ever had illness or sickness or anything else. So it truly thought it was a benevolent force in the universe. And then it crashed on Earth.
It's
And it
baffled
was
by
under the
machine.
ice, frozen for millions of years. And it couldn't understand why us talking monkeys were like, F you, we don't want to be part of this thing, which it thought would make us all super happy because we'd all be, connected intimately and immortal. But yeah, that's just not how humans roll. We're going to be the hard asses, in a lot of sci-fi, the aliens consider us to be like a virus. And there's a whole series of sci-fi stories on YouTube where the aliens consider Earth to be a death world.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we're like a weird species because we somehow managed to evolve on a planet that wanted us dead. Plus it had such a high gravity compared to every other planet that life had ever grown up on.
Yeah, and it's like there's that whole like the species has 32 teeth and can deliver bacterial infections through them, and it's like all this shit. Yeah,
Like the aliens are talking about humans, and we're
Yeah.
monsters. We're like literally monsters to them. They talk about the first time they met, some alien hit a human, and the human hit the alien back, and it like crushed the guy's entire, structure and all the organs. Just killed him instantly. They're like, what the fuck? So then they start using us as like soldiers and scouts. If they found a death world, they'd just be like, well, it's only class 2 and Earth is class 4. So the humans will have it'll be like paradise to them. Send them down there. It's kind of a funny twist because, so often the alien is like some
This
super
monster
powered
from
thing.
some death world and we're the good guys.
It's super
Not
high
like-
tech, yet doesn't wear clothes.
Yeah.
Signs, they're not aliens, in the movie Signs.
They're the legend, rumor, whatever is they're demons.
They're demons, yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
And they were
I never
out to
knew that.
get that fallen priest specifically. That was a big part of it.
Huh.
Yep. Which is why Mel Gibson's character eventually refound his
Faith.
faith.
That's an interesting take.
Yeah.
just
Now, do
discovered-
I know if that's true? Well, I don't know. Has M. Night Shyamalan said it's true? I don't know. But that is a pretty decent theory.
Yeah.
And I do like watching those YouTube shows where they have all the weird theories of things. Oh, look at that.
Black coffee, Hungar.
Yeah.
I prefer this.
Yeah, that was one of them they talked about, was how humans drank poison in the morning.
They drink poison in the morning, but they force this other animal's nutrients for its offspring into their poison. What's wrong with these humans?
Yeah.
I've
You
got
know,
some bourbon creamer that I could pour in that coffee too, but
there's so many stories that start with the aliens thought that they were going to blah, 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 but then the humans got mad. And they all end the same way. Some alien force shows up, starts being dicks, and the humans are like, nope. And then we go out there and just wreck them. And they're all like, what the hell are these things? Because they always think that we're weak because every time they see us, we're just hanging out playing baseball or something. And they're like, oh, yeah, we'll conquer these guys in a day. And then they try to conquer us. And it's like, no.
This is funny, James. I'm just sharing this with you. This popped up on my Facebook, one of the Star Trek groups. It's just some chick's cosplay as a Klingon, right? But some guy wrote in the comments, I'm a Libra. I like long romantic walks in the desert and have killed 6 enemies in battle. Klingon Tinder.
That's great.
Okay, guys, I might have something to
Bad
tell you
for
here.
Klingon, I have to admit.
she has a really good.
I'm sorry, Vic. I talked over you.
I said, I'm going to go grab something off my porch. It's going to be something neat. You guys are going to get the first look at it.
Nice. Yeah, I would have to Captain Kirk that Klingon.
Oh, hell yeah. No, there's I can't remember what it was. There was something I saw. It was like a cartoon or it was like a comic or something. And it was like, the Klingon ambassadors on board the ship. And then the next day they show like, the crew on the bridge. And like the guy who was with her is all like, oh, fuck. And he's just like trying to sit in his chair and he can barely move type of thing. It's like, yeah, that's what a Klingon woman would do.
That is the legend. They can get a little rough during their
It's that line from Generations when Soren, Malcolm McDowell, fucking palm strikes one of the girls in the face. And she's like, unless you're initiating mating rituals with me. It's like that. Wait, that's okay. Yeah, right. That's
the safety word is photon.
Yeah. Too many syllables.
Yeah, the safety word is tribbles.
Too many syllables.
Because I played Star Trek Online, and if there was one thing Klingons hated more than anything on the planet was tribbles.
Yeah, they can't stand tribbles. So what are we looking at? We can't see it because of your background, dude.
I know. I got to give me a minute to get it out of the box here.
But
You guys
they,
keep chatting away.
Is this gonna be some Adventure Conqueror King thing?
that would be cool.
Ooh.
Would you like a little coffee or a little sugar in your coffee? A little creamer in your tea?
Okay. Let's see.
What's all these questions they asking me?
Where is my?
Mama told me not
You
to come.
completely just 10-card your green screen, I might say.
This is the craziest party that could ever be.
Never be.
Yeah.
Oh,
Don't turn on the
Cigarette
light, sucker.
smoking.
I don't want to see
Scared
it.
me half to death.
Yeah, that cigarette you smoking scared me. Yeah, he's open up the window, sucker. Let me catch my breath.
See. Oh, we got something for Ernie.
Not to
Oh.
come. Oh, look, it's Ernie. It looks like.
Little dedication thing for Ernie.
Mama told. That was the band that did the #1 song on the day and year I was born. But the #1 song was started with Jeremiah was a bullfrog, which catches you right off the bat. As soon as somebody says Jeremiah was a bullfrog, you're like, Wait a minute.
Was a good friend of mine.
You were friends with a bullfrog, and that bullfrog always had wine.
Never
And always the
understood a
mighty
single
fine
word he said, but I helped to drink
Oh.
his wine. Yeah, it's a good song. My favorite song by them is always Shambhala.
Oh yeah.
The fuck? What are you like? Is this a tent? What is he unpacking?
I don't know, but
It's a lot.
I don't know if
Three
it'll
Dog
do-
Night, by the way, guys. If you're wondering who we're talking about, it's Three Dog Night, and apparently they were pretty badass in the 70s,
Yep.
early 60s. They were kicking all the ass.
All right.
Okay,
that's the game.
it's a giant dungeon map.
Castle
You got it.
Zaggy. What is this?
It almost looks like the dungeon board game.
It is the dungeon board game. It's a 4x8 map for Dave McGarry the 50th anniversary.
Oh, that's cool. I've got the little one where you play a thief or a fighter or a mage and you run around fighting monsters and shit.
Yep, we got. I made the world's largest right there. So
Well, I feel inferior because my map isn't.
That's
torn
the one
up.
I have.
Yeah, I just have the regular old dungeon.
And me and my wife and my niece and
It's
stuff.
like you're at
we
the
love
gym and that
Don't worry,
fucking
this
guy
is the
comes in
one
who's
I
got a
got.
cock down to his knees, and all the other guys are like, "Fuck."
that's the one I got, the little tiny one. So
Well, I mean, you might, but you know what? The newer one's better because if you play the mage, you can choose how many fireballs or lightning bolts you get.
I'm just using what Dave McGarry asked for. So I'm just.
Oh yeah, you're just I got it. I get it. It's awesome.
You know, I'm just waiting for my fucking taxes to hit. That way I can buy the Reaper. There's 6 new boxes on Reaper Miniatures site, totaling
$1 million.
no, not 1 million. It's $775. $775
Big
for the.
Dave Con poster, nice.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we're gonna be stuck looking at posters for a while here, Bruce. You want to hold that thought?
It's okay.
Next
Here's-
one is I'm going to get printed is the Greyhawk map on a 4x8 vinyl.
Oh, dude, have you seen Greyhawk Grognard? He's got the Darlene map, and it's like a bed sheet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've
It's
seen it. But
massive.
I was pricing this out on a site called Banners for Cheap, and I can get one done like a 10 by something if I want to.
And how much?
It was like $100 and something.
And you got
I
to find
got
a
a 10 by
high-res
whatever.
fucking scan of that map too. And you got to find a high-res scan of that map joined, which is a lot harder than it sounds to find.
I know. I got one high res scan of it already. So
If I could get something that big, I would set up a thing. So right before I streamed, I would have a rack going from above me and across the room and down,
yeah.
stabilized, so that I could hang that sign on, so that every time you saw me, you just see a giant ass picture of Greyhawk behind me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it would have to be something I could take apart and put in a corner.
Yeah. I got these on vinyl so that I can just roll them all up for every year. That
Riker asking if the Klingon women are. That's why I said the best thing about Next Generation was always Riker. Because Riker was the Kirk of Next Generation. And I like Kirk.
We used to call him Rekirk.
Yeah. Whereas I will not lie, Picard is the more realistic starship captain. But I like Kirk with his whole, well, I know I'm the officer of this whole ship and responsible for 90 people, but I'm going down to the planet. It's like, wait, what?
Let's fucking go, mate.
You know, it's like, okay, that's not really how things would go, but who am I to say? Maybe in the future, captains are different.
I don't know.
I mean, in the past, they were like in the Civil War, a lot of times the leader of a unit would be right in front and center, sword raised high, leading the way. Which is why one of the things about going to Alabama is we drove right by Fort Benning, And in the front of Fort Benning, they have a giant bronze statue of a soldier, and he's got a rifle in his left hand, and his right hand, he's doing like the wave, you know? And it's because when you're an infantryman, the saying is lead the way. And no, it's follow me. And the response is lead the way. Because, you know, infantry leads the way.
Rangers lead the way.
Rangers lead the way. Yeah. And their little thing is, what is it? Something it basically means a sua sponte, of our own accord in Latin. Yeah, I've known a lot of Rangers. Rangers do lead the way. Those guys are badasses.
Absolutely.
Had a bunch of them in my unit, and plus Fort Stewart was only 20 miles maybe from Hunter Army Airfield, which is where 375 Ranger Battalion was stationed. So, yeah, I know all about Rangers with their little freaking now sand-colored berets. They got rid of the black beret. Now they wear the sand. Well, because at some point the Army decided to get rid of the Ronald McDonald hat, or as we called it, the Garrison hat, and gave everyone the black beret. But if everyone's going to wear a black beret, then what do you do with Rangers? Well, they gave them a sand-colored beret. And, of course, Airborne stayed crimson red, and Green Beret will always be Green Beret. Because, you know, if you're a Green Beret, you're one of maybe 1 in 100,000 people that ever made it. So
I'm sad they got rid of the Garrison hat, though. I like the Garrison hat.
it was okay. I mean, it was just a thing, and you had your symbol on the side, and I mean, it was great. I mean, you folded it up and put it in your pocket when you're inside. But they decided everyone needed a beret, and I don't know why, but the Army's stupid. Like,
Do you remember the day that happened? Do you remember the fact that there were some people bitching that were from like portions of Georgia's command that you'd never heard of before? And like some 04 gets upset, and that made it all the way into central Illinois that day because all of a sudden the Green Berets are getting a gag order being told to PFU about what's going to be happening tomorrow. And I want to say this wasn't that in 99 or in early 2000?
and then the Army went to that stupid digital camo for a minute,
Oh God, yeah.
but it turned out that camo sucked and had a tendency to bleach out white.
Worse yet was the fact that guys were getting shot with that. It failed to be camo.
Yeah, it just turned white in the desert sun.
Like the only thing that camo was good for was actually, blending in with a couch that nobody ever had.
I've got a full suit of that, actually.
You poor bastard.
I used to have my chocolate chip, but my aunt really wanted it, and I couldn't get into it, but she can because she's really little. Because when I was in the Gulf, I weighed about 150 pounds. And so I could wear very small stuff. I lost 30 pounds in the Gulf because I stopped. When I was in Garrison, I was always taking, creatine and
Supplements and all that.
Working out all the time. And I was like 180, and I could put up 350, maybe 400 on a good day. And went to the desert, wasn't working out at all, was basically just waiting for the war to start. And I just shrunk right up, which some dudes did the opposite because an MRE has got like 5,000 calories in it or some crazy shit. And if you're just sitting around on your ass eating MREs all day, you will get fat as shit.
Oh,
Well, not only that, but you can't poop.
Yeah, a lot of guys got fat as hell because they were just eating like 4 MREs a day.
Meal refusing to exit.
Yeah, I never had a problem, but I did. So to quote the pirate, no, but yes, or yes, but no. My problem with pooping was that we were on the move so much in the beginning there that if you wanted to poop, it meant walking out into the desert, digging a hole, dropping trowel just right there in the middle of this broad sandy desert, because that's what northern Saudi Arabia is. And you know that everyone on guard duty with their PS5s is going to look around and be like, oh, look at this asshole over here taking a shit. So it's just like, oh my God, And then we would hammer pipes into the ground, and that's what we'd pee in. Because the thought was the pee would go down to the bottom pipe and then saturate into the sand. Now, when we knew we were going to be at someplace more than like a week, then they would bring in actual latrines. But these latrines had the cut in half 55-gallon things under them, which meant somebody would randomly get picked to go pull those things out on occasion and burn them. You had to pour gasoline and diesel in and stir it up and then light it on fire. And I did that a couple times over the course of a year. I did it like twice. Not a good time. Not a good time at all. Just standing on a hillside in the bright ass sand, burning poop.
No matter where you walk, the smoke follows you.
Yeah, smoke follows you. One time my drill sergeant got mad first sergeant, because smoke went right down the hill and into the captain's tent. And the captain was trying to have a meeting with the other officers. The poop smoke was going right in his tent. First sergeant ran up there and was like, what? And I was like, I'm just doing what I was told. He's like, damn it. Because he couldn't be mad at me. I was being a good boy, But the situation was fucked up beyond, But, FUBAR, that's the Army way.
I really would like to know where the fuck my glue went. Granted, most of you would be looking at my desk like, how the fuck can you tell where anything is? I'm like, shut up.
Dude, that's my desk. Look.
Oh, it's going to get worse. Once I get my fucking taxes in, I'm going to get $775 worth of Reaper miniatures here.
This is my UV box right here. This is just a collection of World
I got
War
a collection of miniatures. I'll sell you for $775.
And
None of
then
them
here
are
are all
painted,
the half-painted pig-faced orcs and goblins that I'm working on.
Where do you get the pig-faced orcs from?
I 3D print them.
God damn it.
You could get them from Otherworld Miniatures when they were still around, but now the best way I found to get pig-faced orcs is Warp Miniatures on My Mini Factory.
Okay.
And they sell them modular, so you can equip them however you want. They can have like a pole arm, a spear and shield, and various hand weapons.
I just discovered Frazetta Girls about 2 days ago, and I've known Sarah Frazetta for a few years, like not like really good friends, but been on a panel with her before.
Right.
And started talking to her the other day, just out of the blue on Twitter. And holy shit, she's like, if you like Conan so much, have you seen what we're releasing in June? I'm like, no. And they've got on FrazettaGirls.com one of the best Conans I've ever seen, with multi-face, multi-hands, different weapons. Like, it's going to be 1/12 scale. So you're going to get a pretty big piece. And it's $70. Yeah, it's $70. I was talking with some guys from, I guess you'd say, Comicsgate. Vinny Tartamella. Do you know Vinny?
Did you see what James Lowry posted?
Badge Miniatures have the other world.
But it's Badger. He left Badger out, but apparently Badger Miniatures have the right to sell the pig-faced orcs now.
Okay.
And Otherworld Miniatures, or Otherworldly, he said, I don't know which is right. They made the most, like, whatever it looked like in the first edition book is what it looked like.
Okay.
So their goblins look like, with the little helmet and the horns and the mace, and but the Warp Miniatures, you can tell they tried to keep that orc aesthetic from they even have these weird shields. They're kind of round on top and square on bottom. So like the picture from the first edition Monster Manual.
I am already impressed by BadgerGames.com. I'm looking at what they have.
Well, if they picked up all of the old molds from Otherworld Miniatures, they have some amazing shit. And it's all to scale. So when you buy Hill Giant and you put it on the table and you're like, that doesn't look that big. Well, no, that's right, actually.
Yeah,
And
the
Hill
hill
Giant's
giants
like
are
12
small.
to 16 feet tall. It's not, for some reason, when games, Wizards of the Coast started putting out those freaking box sets with giants, the giants are like 40 feet tall.
Hey guys, it sounds like I'm gonna have to get off here. I'll see you.
Catch
Hey,
you later, lad.
take care, Left.
Still F.
And that's not correct, you know. So you get a stone giant, he should be about 3 inches tall, maybe 4. He should not be 8 inches tall. They're just not that big in Monster Man.
8 inches, huh?
I don't like the.
I see what you did there.
I got
Yeah, you know, like
this is garbage.
Isn't this like 4 inches?
This is no.
Yeah.
This is a fucking garbage ass stone giant mini I've got, and this is a WotC mold. I might add.
And it's way too big.
It's too huge.
It should be about
About
2/3.
2 inches to 3 inches tall.
Yeah.
Because you figure that these are 28, 25 millimeter. So you should be double the like,
And skinny as hell.
yeah, skinny as shit.
Because I don't know why stone giants are always so skinny and bald and stupid, but
They
But
look
they
like
are.
fucking Dulcine went out and made like more Nephilim or something. I don't know.
here is, since we were talking about this earlier, Bear, kind of, sort of. Here is Doctor Strange redone as a H.P. Lovecraft adventurer.
Oh, nice.
So it's Doctor Strange, but he's wearing like 1920s gear. And he's got his hand out, and there's like that flat piece is, I guess, supposed to be some kind of magical thing he's doing. Hey, Daniel Barry, how you doing, bro? Yeah, Otherworld Miniatures was amazing, but it was like a 2-man operation. And
Whoever
apparently the guy who owned it was starting to get on in years, as we all are. And so I was really worried that he was just going to let the range die. But if he handed it over to Badger, I'd say sold it. Then that's amazing and awesome. Because in addition to my Warp miniature pig-faced orcs, I have an army of Otherworld pig-faced orcs. And they mix pretty well. The other worlds are just slightly smaller because of the scale, but not enough that matters.
I'm digging this. BadgerGames.com has the otherworldly miniatures on it, and shit's in stock.
The Otherworld miniatures, he made some of the best old school looking adventurers that you're going to find anywhere. I mean, the guy was just a super genius. I don't know why. I think it's just the price and the fact that he was in England, which is why I always say that if I ever hit the lotto and got like millions of dollars, I would have bought the IP, and I would have set up a plastic injection molding factory and just started putting it. Yep.
Look at
That's
that
the
figure.
shit he did. I mean, it was absolute, and that's from Deep Dwarven Delve. That's the statue of Moloch at the very end of the dungeon.
Fucking love
And
it.
if you try and pry the eyes out, it summons a demon that will straight up
Eat you.
punch you in the head. Like, it'll be bad. Yeah, those are all the old Otherworld sculpts. I mean, because you know how they work. They've got the 2-sided centrifugal mold, and you just spin it and pour the metal in and pop it in half and bust them out and clip them out. And, you know, you're ready to go, right?
Yeah.
So it's not a big deal, which I only know this because when my pops was a dental technician in the olden days of the 80s, he would have to sculpt the bridge or whatever was being made, and then he would have to cast it, and it was a whole thing. And then he'd give it to the dentist. You know, like the dentist would have the patient bite down into this like almost like concrete type stuff, and then my pops would use the wax method to make a thing. See, Goblin Champion, yeah. And Shaman, yeah. And my pop would make use the Lost Wax method.
Hey, good news.
What's the good news? That we all need it.
Christopher Perkins is retired from Wizards of the Coast.
Yay!
Found it
That is good
online.
news.
I just
'Cause
found it.
I mean, he's going to take Jeremy Crawford with him on the way out the door. That'd be something.
Well, I will never know really if he posts anything about because he blocked me years ago.
Yeah, I have no idea what he's going to do. I don't care. I'm just happy he's gone. His
I
best-
just love that Mike Merles went to work for Chaosium.
Hilarious. The Merle's interview that I saw recently was pretty good. He was spilling the tea on some shit.
Oh, yeah? Where'd you see this?
Where did I see this? Was it Diversity and Dragons? Oh, answer your phone.
That's me. That's me.
But oh yeah, he was spilling major tea about how
Questing Beast had it up.
yeah. I think DM Bloodworth did one too. But he was talking about how if you worked at Wizards of the Coast, they were so ideologically captured that they were basically shooting themselves in the foot, you know what I mean, all the time. And the few guys that were brave enough to step up and be like, this is not a good idea, we're getting sidelined and put in stupid positions and, not actually fired most of them, but just kind of removed from the process.
Hello, Misty. Oh, my goodness.
But,
you guys don't get to see this cat very often. You guys usually
Like
see
one of the stupidest, oh, look, pretty baby. One of the stupidest things Wizards of the Coast ever done, I stand by this, is after 4th edition failed, even though I personally like 4th edition Essentials a whole lot, they made James Wyatt, they moved him from Dungeons and Dragons to Magic the Gathering as a writer for Magic the Gathering novels and shit. And I think that's so stupid because however you feel about 4E mechanically, 4E had amazing stories and lore in the books. And that
Nentir
was
Vale
all
is
James
best.
Wyatt.
Nentir Vale is one of the best fucking settings.
Nantir Vale could have been the setting that I'm running my OSC game in, but they let it die. They're just like, nope, we don't care.
No, the worst part is the Nentir Vale Gazetteer was written, laid out, everything good to go when they canned the 4E line, so it just got left in the dirt.
And it's like, why? Because you could have put that out as a completely non, like a system agnostic setting.
We just repurposed it for 5E, change the game stats, and give it to us, fuck.
Or change the game stats. Whatever you want
Christ,
to do.
everybody interviewed fucking Mike Merles, dude.
Yeah. Mike Merles, I mean, I even had an exchange on X with the guy, which was really
Right.
good because I just said, hey, I'm sorry about what happened to you. And he's like, don't worry about it.
I'm friends with him on Facebook. We never talked, but I'm
It
gonna send him a
happened,
message right
and
now.
I'm like, well, I want you to know that, I always thought of all the people at Wizard Coast, I thought you were a decent guy. And he was like, I appreciate that, bro. And that was basically it. You know what I mean? Because I'm not the kind of guy that wants to get drug into long whatever's on X anymore. Last time I turned X on, I have like 40 something messages that I haven't even answered. You're muted, Vic. You didn't unmute yourself.
I said, yeah, I know. I've sent you messages on there, you bastard.
Well, I need to look, but I mean, you have the special ability to just tell me things, unless it's private. Or
Well-
at least to say, hey, I've sent you some messages.
Yeah.
And then I'll be like, well, I better check that out then. But I end up getting a lot of, stupid shit.
I want
And
to
it's
know.
my fault because I see something stupid, I comment on it, and then I get a bunch of artards commenting back. My fault. I'm the one that put the target on me. I could have kept my mouth shut, let them live in their fantasy world, and I'll just continue doing my own thing, right? But I'm working very hard on controlling my emotions and not allowing myself to get bull baited into doing and saying stupid things, because it happened quite a bit within the last month. And, upon introspection, I said, I got baited into doing what I did. Now I was right, but I was wrong because I shouldn't have allowed myself to get emotional in the first place. But, you know how it is, guys. I'm sure you guys know. There are just certain people that'll push your buttons because they want to see you get all pissed off and say stupid shit. And I'm just not doing that anymore. I am removing myself from that game, because
I admire you for that.
Because it's not worth it. It's not worth it. No matter what anyone says on X, nothing you respond, unless they say something like good, like Bruce, I love you, you're the greatest. Then you can give them a little heart and say thanks. But if it's something negative, nothing you respond will matter. It just simply doesn't matter. And I mean, not to be a nihilist, but in 1,000 years, no one will care. So why make yourself pissy when you don't got to? That, I guess I'm not trying to be a preacher to you guys. I'm just saying that's where I am.
Okay.
I've realized that I'm done. I'm done playing the game. I'm not doing it. I will log on and I'll tell Basic Expert that I like his new art. I'll talk to the little Dutch boy and say, I think his OSR books are pretty good. I'll say positive stuff to people, and then I will log off. And no, I'm not becoming some kind of hippie, guys. If the revolution starts, I've got my shit ready to go. This is for me. I've decided I just am sick of being pissed at people I don't even know. Why would you be pissed off at people you don't know? F them. They don't matter.
All right. Message sent to Mr. Merles, seeing if I can get him as a guest on the Four Color Cafe. You're muted again, Vic.
You may be able to, just it depends though if he's working now, because there for a while he had no job, so he was
He's
doing
been
lots of
with
interviews.
for months.
And then but I mean, Merle's, maybe they'll put him, if they're smart at Chaosium, they'll put him on the RuneQuest line, and he'll start coming out with all kinds of cool fantasy shit for RuneQuest.
Yeah, maybe.
And, but they could, I mean, I don't know. Sandy Peterson's pretty much got the Cthulhu shit locked down. You know what I mean?
I've been watching his X account lately. He's pretty based.
Well, one thing he did recently is he removed the Ukrainian flag from his header. For the longest time, he was one of those guys that threw the Ukrainian flag up there. And I sent him a message. I'm Sandy, why would you support them? I mean, you live in freaking Utah or wherever. You're a Mormon. I mean, WTF, stop being a sheep. And he never responded back. But then like a month later, that flag was gone. Like, yeah, wake the F up, people. We're supporting the bad guys. Not that the other side are the good guys necessarily, but you get what I'm saying, right?
I just hate
Vic
that
is
whole
still
concept.
muted.
Like, I want to put a wall around Asia and just let them go and fuck yourself,
See, I don't, because if I had a choice, one day I'd like to visit Vietnam. I'd like to maybe visit Japan. If I thought I could go and not get thrown into prison, I would visit like Hong Kong.
Why would you get thrown in prison for Hong Kong? Hong Kong's nice.
Because it's under the communist government now. And they're weird, Because they have a tendency of occasionally, for no reason, accusing American tourists of being spies.
Hey,
Oh,
Cody.
Vic's muted because he's talking to somebody on the phone. Okay, he's okay. Never mind. I was like, Vic, you're still muted, homie. But he's on the phone.
Oh, there goes my phone.
Hey, GM Cody, how are you doing? Is it evening or afternoon? I don't know, but because I think it's got to be after 6 to be good evening, right?
After 5.
Not that it matters. I mean, you know, I've never stood by any of those rules, Cody. If I want to wake up at 9 a.m. and start drinking, I will. And I just don't give a shit what anyone thinks. Like in True Detective, I love when Matthew McConaughey makes the detective go buy him some beer. And they're like, why? And he's like, well, it's afternoon on a Tuesday. And on Tuesdays after 12 o'clock, I start drinking. and he's like, throws the money out. And he's like, get me something like Lone Star or Old Milwaukee, nothing snooty. And put a hustle on it. and they do, you know. First, they tell him he can't smoke, and he just stares at them and lights up anyway. He's like, because he knows they need him. He don't need them. He don't give a shit. Man, I love his character in that series. It is so good. The evolution of the character, how he starts off as just this bitter narcissist, and oh man, just so good. Are you back, Vic? I loved
Yeah,
your
I'm here.
posters, Vic. I thought they were amazing.
Thank
Hey,
you.
GM Cody, how you doing?
I'm indifferent to your posters, Vic.
Yeah, you're not coming
I
to
think
Dave Con.
I would
anyways,
never go to
you
something
can't.
called Dave Con in my life, sir.
I think
Get you on an airplane down to Minnesota.
Oh, yeah, sure. Okay. You betcha. I'll just hop right on there.
Wait, you live in Minnesota too?
Well,
everyone I know is
Yep.
Canadian or Minnesotan, except for Bruce is in Texas. I swear to
Minnesotans
God.
are just like really angry Canadians.
It's so weird too, because there are a lot of Florida YouTubers like Harmony Ginger, Dungeon Delver, you know, etc. None of them speak to me. And I don't know if it,
well, Harmony's going to be up here. Why don't you come up here?
I don't know if it's because they've heard about me in real life, so they're avoiding me online.
Just you know what? I consider the convention floor neutral territory. You guys want to fight off the floor? Go
No,
fight.
I don't
But
think I've met them.
convention floor.
I've never met them. I think they
Yeah.
may have just heard stuff. Because,
Yeah.
like I say, not trying to be away, and it's not bragging because I'm ashamed of it. But 10, 15 years ago, I was a little bit different. I mean, I didn't like introspect and try to be more humble and avoid. I mean, I you know, there were a lot of people who absolutely hated my guts.
I'm trying to get to that point, James, but I keep going on social media and I want to go fucking punch babies and puppies.
That's
Wait,
the
wait,
problem.
wait. You're trying to get humble, Bruce?
I would like to.
Really? Here's a tip. When talking about things that are not political, don't immediately bring up politics. It's amazing how much people will not fight with you when that happens, Bruce.
Ain't that the
I
truth?
didn't say it was smart, Bear.
Okay, that's fair. You did not say you were smart. I will
Well,
give you
I
that.
said something the other day at a party because occasionally I surprise myself because I don't really think before I speak. And the thing I realized is that back when I was in my mid-20s and I had my largest group of friends, like we could play baseball with full teams, you know what I mean? And we did.
One is
Well, I wouldn't call them friends, but you know, acquaintances, people in the
your
neighborhood.
social circle.
Right.
Yeah.
I have no idea right now what any of their political views were.
You know what's even better? It was the same way for me. I had this massive circle of friends, this massive social circle. I have no idea if any of them are still alive.
Well, I know for
Never
a fact
mind what their
that
politics
about a
are.
third of them are not.
I don't know what happened to most of them, but I'm at that age where I'm sure more than like 5 of them are dead.
Well, I know that one of them's in prison for getting caught cooking mess for the third time in Florida. That's 3 strikes. You're going to prison for life. A couple of them died of overdoses. 2 of them were murdered. 1 dismembered and left in the Ocala Park. They ID'd that person by a tattoo on the thigh.
Jesus.
And one of them was walking down the street 4 blocks from my house, and somebody just pulled up next to him and shot him.
Wow.
And left him dead on the sidewalk. 1 moved to Detroit and become a garbage man.
That sounds a lot like Ocala, though.
2 of them moved to Tennessee because they had went to prison for shit they did in Florida. And as soon as they got out of prison for their 5 to 7 years, they moved to Tennessee. They're like, I'm leaving Florida. Because, I mean, if you are the kind of person that wants to get into shit, Florida's a great state. You will get into shit down here. You know what I mean? There's always somebody willing to do something stupid. And if you want to be a part of that, you can. Me, when I saw all my friends getting killed and hooked on crack, I joined the Army. Because I was like, yeah, I'm done with this, you know.
I'm getting the F out of Dodge.
Getting the F out of Dodge. I'll go do work for the government. I am not hanging out. I mean, one of them died because he drank bad moonshine and it killed him. And the other one, well, they brewed it. So it's not like he was a victim. They brewed it. But they used the copper wiring from a car radiator.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So they got all that radiator fluid. And the 2 of them that did it, 1 was lucky. He only went permanently blind. But the other one, he died, got the soft brain, you know, with no wrinkles, and was gone. Let's see. Prison. Yeah, one of the guys that we used to play baseball with, he went to prison for being a PDF file. You know, and he'll never get out for 100 billion years. Actually, I wonder if the state of Florida will retroactively give him the death penalty, because that's a thing down here now. Like if you commit some of that kind of stuff of under a certain age, you can get the death sentence. So,
Well, I know one of my friends from high school, 2 days after high school, he decides to do 150 miles an hour down the interstate, trusting his car out, and flipped it 9 times. Brainiac there.
Yep.
Another
So
one.
it's like, but then again, I was really poor. I lived in a really poor area, and all the other kids I hung out with were really poor. So we were constantly exposed to the violence and the drug trade and all that shit. You know, when you live in Section 8 housing and shit, that up in Kentucky, because my biological father was 100% disabled from Vietnam war injuries, you know, so they would always put us in these Section 8 houses, and you know what I'm talking about because they have all the apartments in like circles, and there's only ever one way in and one way out, and everyone in there is married to or the child of somebody seriously effed up mentally from something, and it's just a bad place, you know. But the apartments were beautiful, some of the nicest houses I ever lived in. When I was very young, I mean, they had indoor flush toilets and central air and heat and carpets and beautiful. But the people, like we couldn't go to the basketball court and play basketball because like there were older kids that hung out at the basketball court and they were into bad shit. And this is in central Kentucky, like East Central Kentucky.
Speaking of bad shit, I got to go make my supper. So nice seeing you all.
Okay, see you,
They're
Barry.
hanging out there.
And Vic,
Yes.
stay reprobate.
Yeah, hey, you are a reprobate.
Never
I am
changed.
the Canuckrobate. It's
Yeah,
a
you're
whole
the
new thing. I'm
Canuckrobate.
gonna make a superhero. The Canuckrobate.
I believe it.
Which means he's somehow related to Maui. Since Canuck, he was saying, is derived from the Polynesian word Kanak, which, I mean, it's interesting. But yeah, I don't know why I make these guys. I don't know if I'll ever run a serious Call of Cthulhu campaign. But then again, a lot of these guys will. I have the Mansions of Madness second edition board game, and a lot of these miniatures would fit right in. Like the Leonardo DiCaprio could be a good alternate miniature if you're playing the Millionaire, since he's just standing there with the champagne glass in his hand, grinning. And if you play the athlete, well, I've got an athlete here. If you want to play a cultist, I've got cultist. I've got Fox Mulder and Agent Scully, but in 1920s gear. So, if you want to play a detective, just alternate sculpts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my wife really loves that game, Mansions of Madness. That's one of her favorite games. She loves
Mansions of Madness and Arkham Asylum are two really good games.
Yep. Totally different, but both very good.
Yes.
Because in Arkham Asylum, you set up like this thing that holds cards. And as you pull cards, it like tells you things that happen as you journey around the town.
Yeah.
And they added expansions so you can go from Arkham to Innsmouth. But it's the same thing. It's still the hex-based puzzle pieces that build the town.
I don't know if I like that game better or if I like the Haunted House on the Hill.
Oh, yeah. Betrayal at the House on the Hill. I've
Yeah,
got the third edition and the Scooby-Doo edition.
I don't have the Scooby-Doo edition.
And I 3D printed the Scooby-Doo guys because the one thing I don't like about the Scooby-Doo edition of Betrayal at the House on the Hill is they give you cardboard standees. Nope. So I printed out, 3D printed all of the Scooby-Doo guys, painted them up. So now if you want to play Shaggy, there is a Shaggy. Or what's his real name? Filbert? No, it's Norbert.
Norbert.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't know this, but before they tried to make what's her name gay, Thelma was actually Norbert's girlfriend.
Yep.
And Norbert is Daphne's brother. I think younger brother or maybe older brother. I don't know. That's why they both have red hair, though. So yeah. Like, I like the game Clue. So I 3D printed all of the characters from Clue. I got the STLs for free from Big Mr. Tong. And they're based on the English characters from Clue. So totally different. There's like an actual minister, white, and because in the British version, they weren't afraid to have a minister and a maid and whatever. But otherwise, it's the same game.
James, you got to come up here. There's a game of Cultist and Cthulhu going on at DaveCon. I didn't even know I approved something like that.
You're right. I really should. I just don't know that I can.
Just
but
go
I
in
should.
there. Just go in there and say, honey, we need to go on a vacation.
We just got back from Alabama and we had to go because my niece got married. And she told me if I didn't go that she would drive to Florida and punch me.
Oh, well,
which I guess is flattering. She felt like, she would commit violence if I didn't show up at her wedding. I guess that's love.
Well, I'm glad you liked it.
I'll tell you what, she looked like an angel. She really did. She was absolutely gorgeous. She's my niece that looks the most like my daughter. Why did I say daughter? That's weird. My wife. Like, to the point that when 30 years ago or so, if you saw this niece, well, let's say 20 years ago, if you saw my wife and the niece together, you'd think that my wife was her mom. They both have that platinum blonde hair and the same face. And I even joked around that with my wife. I was like, did you get pregnant and decide you couldn't take care of the baby, so you gave it to your sister? And they had a big laugh about it because Jessica was not offended because she loves my wife and she would have been happy to have been our daughter. You know what I mean? Not that I'm trying to down on anyone, but yeah, she would have been very happy to be our daughter. You know, but yep. And she married some redneck from North Georgia. And the only negative thing I have to say about him is he likes the Bulldogs. And I'm like, get out of here. Wildcats, University of Kentucky, you dork. But I mean, of course, other than that, he's a really cool guy. And I gave him a brand new ugly stick, pin silver reel, like the whole setup for fishing. And he was really happy about that because apparently
good job, James. You just gave him an excuse to get away from his wife.
that's how you keep a happy marriage. You know, sometimes you just got to not be there. Me and my wife, we do set aside occasions to sit in the same room and talk. But most of the time, I'm happiest knowing she's in the other room and I'm in this room. And it's not that I don't love her. It's just sometimes I just want to do my own shit and not be bothered by anyone. And I love her more than I love anything. I love her more than a fat boy likes cake. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes we'll sit and we'll watch movies and we'll have deep conversations because she's really smart. She's got a couple of degrees, like real degrees, not like African basket weaving or some shit. And, you know, but at the same time, I'm a man, and sometimes I just want to be left alone, you know, just to do my own shit. But she's going to fix me a special steak dinner. We've already got like a 2-pound porterhouse for me and sweet potato, and because I love sweet potatoes. And tomorrow she's going to do it up for my birthday dinner. And it's going to be awesome because she's a great cook. So people in the audience, other than Badger Miniatures taking over Otherworld, which in my opinion is an awesome situation because at least those miniatures are still available. They are amazing. The only thing I don't like about them is they're metal. I have long since grown to love plastic better because it's just easier to cut and modify. F with whatever, but you know, some people prefer that old metal, so good for them, you know. What else should if there's anyone in the audience that is curious about anything, just ask. Someone in the panel will have an answer. It may not be me because I don't know much about much, you know. I mean, I think my video the other day on how fudging dice is basically lying and lying is always wrong was pretty much my main situation for at least a week until I come up with some other DM thing. Oh, the other DM thing is if it's something the players should just be able to do, just let them do it. Don't make them roll dice for stupid shit. Just slows the game down. I mean, if a character wants to climb a tree to see if they can see further, and it's a normal tree and they're not being chased by a bear and no one's trying to shoot them or something, why are you going to make them roll? Just trying to be a dick? I mean, if I could climb a tree when I was 10, why do you think? Because here is, now maybe I'm wrong, and you two can eventually maybe get a word in edgewise and tell me your opinion. But my opinion is this: an adventurer, an actual dungeon crawler who wanders the wilderness, mugging orcs, etc., is got to be at least as physically competent as a firefighter. And a firefighter can climb a tree. Or you know, a 24-foot ladder or whatever, right? If you're not at least as physically capable as a firefighter, you're going to die when you go in the dungeon. You know, the first time you got to do some crazy shit, you're done. And that is my main reason for making fun of people who want wheelchairs in their D&D game. Because have you ever seen a firefighter in a wheelchair? No, and you never will. Because they can't do the job. Like where you're going to throw the high-rise pack to the guy in the wheelchair and tell him to take it up to the 10th floor? How's that going to work? Because you can't take the elevator. The building's on fire. The last thing you want to do is be in the elevator. So you got to go up those stairs. And let's say it's Bank of America, downtown Orlando, 24 flights of stairs. You think somebody in a wheelchair is getting up 24 flights of stairs? Yeah, give me a effing break. Of course, somebody will say, well, it's magic and it can hover. And I'll say, yeah, shut up. Go away. This is some weird bullshit that in 40 years of D&D existing never happened. And then all of a sudden become a thing. And me being a very conservative minded person, and I don't mean that politically, I mean that in general. I am a guy that believes if it worked 10,000 years ago and it works now, why would you change it? You know, the old if it ain't broke, don't fix it thing, ideology, is my ideology. Therefore, why would you add wheelchairs to a game where they have never existed for 30 years? And it's stupid. And a cleric could just cast a heal spell. It's like, what are you trying to prove? And I know a lot of people are like, super pro wheelchair, but really it's like, what are you trying to prove? You're not proving anything. Now, could there be a guy in some kind of thing like, you know, what's it called? Who owns a tavern? And he kind of shuffles around doing his job in his contraption because he got his legs blown off and he doesn't have enough money to go to the temple and get it healed. Yeah, okay. Like in a non-combat role, you can have handicapped people. Of course you can. A guy with no arm because he got it bit off by a troll. So now he just, you know, works doing something in town. Yeah, obviously. It's not like you have to completely erase the existence of handicapped people, but there are just some things that a handicapped person cannot do. And trying to tell people that they can do it is offensive because you're setting people up to fail in the worst kind of way. What do you think, Bruce? Am I wrong?
Not wrong at all.
Right. I mean, just stupid. Can you imagine in the Navy if they let people in wheelchairs on, they would all flunk out during your firefighter training.
Oh my God, that would be terrible, especially if it's on a different level than the hose supplies and water supplies.
Right.
How are you going to wheel up there? They have fucking elevators at fore and aft of every boat now. Fuck you.
On top of that, even if they could get their hands on the line, they can't actually advance it because wheels, you know, they don't really give you a lot of force to move things around the way you need to during a fire. So they would be absolutely useless. And of course, me having been through infantry training, a guy in a wheelchair is going to die. Like the second you encounter the enemy, they're just dead.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, because as a matter of fact, they'll get their whole platoon killed because any enemy worth its salt is going to be able to track that wheelchair. And you will get ambushed and you will all die. Because if you get ambushed in modern combat, generally it's a you're all dead situation.
I can't disagree with your logic there.
Well, I mean, because let's say you're walking, even in Ranger file, so you've got your good, 5 meters between you, whatever. You're coming down a trail. If they've got a PKM set up facing you and to the side of you, enfilade, and maybe some whatever their version of claymores are, as soon as you walk into the kill zone, claymores go off, and whoever survives that now has to survive, medium machine gun fire. raking from 2 different directions, you're dead.
If you're,
I
yeah,
mean-
you're gone.
Yeah, unless God really loves you and you jump up and you run through the woods and somehow magically escape, you're done. That's the end of you. That's just the way it works. I've been trained to be on both sides of it, and being on the other side of it sucks. Being on the good side is like, okay. When you see them, you wait till the claymores go off, and then you let them eat that 270 until they're all done. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, or 240, whatever, 249 if that's what you got. Whatever you got, you just feed it to them. And I mean, yeah, if you allow yourself to walk into an ambush, bad day.
And that's the problem that I have with a lot of military quote unquote training. It feels like when you read about this shit, like it's intentional. Like the fucking officer corps literally hangs out a portion to dry. Maybe it's to lure out opposing fire, opposing forces, but a lot of times when I'm reading the reports on shit, it literally just sounds like, and we let these 10 guys die, and we let this contingent of
like in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
And
the Afghanistan pisses me off the most, because when I read about it, I never went to Afghanistan. I never served in Afghanistan. Never went to the sandbox, as far as that's concerned. I for the most part, like, read this shit, and you have the spring, which here come a bunch of Pakistani guys that were recruited into militia, and 50,000 of them get murdered off by American forces. We spent 20 years there, lost what, 2,400, 6,400, 24 to 2,600 American soldiers died in 20 years. The Russians were there. They couldn't even take the land that we got, and we had that shit down within like the first month. There were so many valleys the Russians were fucking routed out of.
Here's the thing. And some people out here are getting ready to get mad, maybe.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry if
Get mad.
if they do, but no one is better than American military. No one on this planet can compete. And if you put a bunch of Marines or a bunch of high-speed infantrymen from the Army into an area, you are going to inflict massive casualties on your government. This is what we do. But the problem is, thank God I didn't go to Afghanistan. I was in Iraq. Our war was like your first night having sex after prom. It was really sloppy and messy and quick. And we apparently didn't learn anything. But Afghanistan, that was the long, drawn out bullshit.
You're in, you're out. Here's their new militia from like neighboring countries. We chase them all the way to a border of Pakistan or Turkmenistan or whatever.
And then we can't chase them further, though, because that would be breaking a rule. So we have to let them do what they do and get away with it, because, I mean, and that's the biggest problem with the U.S. military right now, is we use the weirdest orders of engagement that are almost designed to get us killed.
Yeah.
And it's like, who came up with this shit? Like the idea in Iraq that you couldn't shoot them unless they shot at you first. It's like, you guys do understand the way bullets work, right? A lot of times, he who shoots first also shoots last, Yeah. So it's like, this is not a good idea. Because, you're going to get people killed. But you're right. The guys at the very, very top, they don't care at all. And the second lieutenant is an idiot. The smartest thing any second lieutenant can do is listen to the staff sergeant.
Yeah, the E5, E6.
The second lieutenant can be the face of the staff sergeant. And if he does that until he learns and eventually becomes first lieutenant, then he's going to have good results. But if you have an arrogant second lieutenant who lands in your unit and thinks he knows everything and tells the first sergeant to get effed and and the staff sergeants that, you know, they don't know shit, you're going to get a lot of men killed. And, you know, it's been that way forever. It's not like it changed. It's not like it wasn't that way in the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, every war. Nothing is more dangerous to the life of your general common infantryman or Marine than a second lieutenant that thinks he knows what he's doing. That guy is going to get all of you killed. You know, listen to your staff sergeant. He's been in the shit. He's probably been in the military for 10 or 15 years, and he's not going to get you killed if he can help it. You probably still get killed, but, you know, at least it's not wasteful. But, man, stupid second lieutenants, they get so many people killed all the time. All the damn time. Hell, you know, the movie Aliens is a sci-fi, but it even touched on that. Because the guy in charge, the officer in charge, had never been in combat at all. You know, how many drops is this for you? And he's like 90 something simulated. It's like, why would you put such a fresh, completely clueless guy in charge? And then, of course, since he was an arrogant prick, he wouldn't just listen to APON or any of the NCOs. You know, he had to have it his way. Which meant when they went into the reactor, they just all got slaughtered because, you know, instead of taking his time and re-equipping the troops with more flamethrowers and shit, he just sent them in there. It's like, just, I mean, it's easy for me to second guess the guy. I'm sitting here in the comfort of my home, but I have been in the military and I do know a second lieutenant will get you killed.
I'm back, you reprobates.
You're the reprobate.
Every time I've heard stories of these first Louis,
Oh yeah,
that it's always a sad tale where you find out somebody's kid died.
In the Army, the saying is the most dangerous thing you will ever encounter is a second lieutenant with an idea.
Ain't that the truth?
Right?
If you see the sergeant, well, my thing was if you see the chief behind the lieutenant moving his head left and right, don't do it.
Don't do it. Right. Right. And I'm sure it's the same way in the Navy, in the Air Force, wherever. In the Army, though, especially if you're an infantryman, that shit is in your ass. It's right there. If the second lieutenant is an idiot, half of your platoon's going to die because of stupid shit he did. And so the best thing is you get a second lieutenant that's got a little humility, and he realizes, you know, this staff sergeant over here that's been in the Army for 15 to 20 years, maybe he knows some shit. Maybe I should consult with him before I start just doing stupid shit and coming up with, but they all don't. Some do though, but some don't. It's, you know, it is what it is. Unfortunately, there's nothing you can do about it. And when we were in the Gulf, man, we had so many second lieutenants just quit. Like they gave up their commission on the spot in Iraq. And First Sergeant Robles would roll in, throw them in the back of a Humvee, and they'd drive off, and we'd never see them again. For all I know, he shot them in the head and buried them in the desert. I doubt it, but, you know, because these guys were idiots. And when combat would actually start and they would say, this is what we're going to do, you know, staff sergeant or somebody, you're like, no, no, sorry, sir, no, this is not what we're going to do. And then they'd get mad, and some of them literally would just be like, fuck it, I quit. Because Sergeant Major Robles always sided with the enlisted guy. Because the enlisted guy was right. You know, it was like, here's what we need to do. The lieutenant comes up with some big plan. Staff sergeant says, no, we're not doing that. Then it turns into a thing. And then Sergeant Major commands Sergeant Major Robles, which means he works directly for the full bird colonel, what you guys would call a captain. He rolls in and tells the second lieutenant, shut the fuck up. And I mean, literally. I have seen him tell a second lieutenant with my own eyes, shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? And then that lieutenant gets mad and wants to throw a fit. Like, I've seen a second lieutenant tell a command sergeant major, "I'm enlisted, you're enlisted. You don't talk to me that way." And command sergeant major Robles be like, "Lock up!" And that freaking second lieutenant go into freaking, grade rest and shit. And that second and just cuss him like a dog and tell him, "If you don't like what I just said, get Jensen down here." Now, Jensen was our full bird colonel. And they want to get him. You know what I mean? And I've said this a million times. In fact, anything that came out of Sergeant Major Robles's mouth, the belief was pretend Colonel Jensen said it. Because Colonel Jensen was never in a billion years going to contradict Command Sergeant Major Robles. You see what I'm saying here? You get the idea? So, yeah, Command Sergeant Major, he tell lieutenants to go fuck themselves. You know what I mean? And it worked out for us. And to this day, he's probably passed because he was very old then. I mean, he had Ranger tab, not the ribbon, the tab, Special Forces, combat patch from Vietnam. I mean, this dude was like 50 years old when I was there, and I was 17. But did he save a lot of our lives? I think he did. And I will forever be grateful that he was my command sergeant major. And Colonel Jensen was just a straight up G. Like, you could tell he liked enlisted more than other officers somehow for some reason. Because when he would show up and there were enlisted officers, he would always go talk to the enlisted guys. You know, how you doing? How's the food? What's going on here? You know what I mean? And then afterwards, he might have a meeting with the officers, but he always went to the enlisted to find out what was really happening. And just a great guy. He's probably passed too, because he was, again, a Vietnam vet, you know, back in 90. Bear's back. Hurrah. Bear. We got a bear. Not that kind of bear, guys. Don't get excited.
It's a bear attack.
Yeah, I detected shit talking of second lieutenants when I was summoned. I was actually nearly killed by a second lieutenant.
That's what I was saying. Nothing will get you killed quicker than a second lieutenant with an idea.
Yeah, we're in Korea. It was right after monsoon season, and we're out in the field, and I got attached to a wrecker crew because we had to pull everybody out of the mud all day long. And we had just pulled out one of the big self-propelled howitzers. And then we had to get a Humvee. And so we had to change out the boom because if you picked it up, a Humvee up with that, it would have just like thrown it. So we're all covered in mud. The equipment's all covered in mud.
What were you in, like an 88?
I'm not sure what it was because it was the big giant bastard.
Yeah, like the 88 armor recovery vehicle. It looks like a gigantic mass.
It wasn't my regular thing because I was in fire control, but they just like, you're going with these guys because they need help. And so anyway, we're trying to set this thing up, and it's taken a long time because everything's covered in mud. And this fresh out of fucking West Point second lieutenant comes up. You guys are taking too long. You don't need all these redundant safety lines. And he just starts pulling pins. And he fucking dropped that thing right on me. I was in a coma for 6 fucking weeks. I get migraines to this day. They damn near drilled.
You had severe head trauma? That explains so much.
See, I'm not going to say that, but the story is completely believable.
I understand he got in quite a bit of trouble. I personally
I would say dropping a boom on a soldier is probably he will never go past second lieutenant. Maybe he'll reach because the way the officers work is like if you get a write-up, you're done. They don't fuck around with it. You know what I mean? Like you don't like if you see a guy and he's a colonel, that means he has 15 to 20 years of perfect evaluations. I assume the Navy's the same way, or the Air Force. They don't let just scumbags be in that position. Because
I heard a story. It's probably apocryphal about some second lieutenant at the Pentagon giving an order to the sergeant major of the army, and the guy just like, "Yes, sir." And then within like 2 weeks, that guy was like fucking in Antarctica or something.
well, that's what I was talking about. That you heard me talk about Command Sergeant Robles.
Yeah, you don't.
He would roll through, and every officer knew you do not fuck with that guy. He is the one. I mean, but this guy, you know how you get service stripes and shit? He had them like up to his freaking shoulder. I mean, it was nuts. This guy'd been in the Army 30 years, fought as an infantryman in Vietnam when he was like an E1 or E2. Just had a chest full of shit, had every school you can, airborne, air assault, you know, all of it. You're going to fuck with this guy? No. This is not the guy. Couldn't speak English for shit. How that happened with him being in the Army for 30 years, I don't know.
We had a fucking first sergeant. This is an old black dude from Louisiana, like the swamps. No one, Sergeant Major, or First Sergeant Coleman or something like that. No one understood a word he fucking said. It was like, and we'd just be there in the motor pool, like looking at each other, like, what the fuck was that?
Lopez was Filipino, and he had joined the Army back when we owned the Philippines. Because there was a period of time, I don't know if you guys remember, when the Philippines was an American territory. And it was right up until relatively recently, actually, if relatively. And so he had that thick, like the only word I could understand for sure was God damn it. And he said that about every fourth word. So it would be like, soldier, blah, 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 something, something, wah, 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 God damn it, wah, 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 wah. And it was like, you just said yes. For, you know, yes, whatever you said, yes. And we'll move on. You know, it's like,
Hua, Sarge.
yeah, hua.
We're going to have a meeting now.
I would like to propose a concept that we all could use moving forward.
We'll just,
whenever you mention you're having chicken wings and some idiot friend of yours says, "Oh, I love boneless chicken wings," you look him dead in the eye and go, "No, you love chicken nuggets."
Those are chicken nuggets. You don't have to propose that to me because I'm already on board.
I'm with you there, Bear. Love you, bud.
A boneless chicken wing is, in fact, just a chicken nugget. And if you like chicken nuggets, there's nothing wrong with that. Eat all the
nuggies are great, tendies are great, but when you want wings, you want wings.
And when they killed all the chickens, the one thing they didn't do for the sports bar I hang out in is give them wings. So for the longest time, the sports bar had a sign up saying, "We do not have bone-in wings." So I just got a Reuben sandwich because they do have an amazing Reuben sandwich. So I'd be like, I'd take a Reuben sandwich dry.
A good Reuben sandwich.
I like mine dry. I don't like
Montreal is famous for its Reubens.
Yeah.
Our smoked meat is the best in North America. Like, everyone admits that. Even the New Yorkers kind of got to capitulate to us on that one. We've got the best smoked meat, and our Reuben's pretty fucking good.
Well, I'll tell you what. Everybody knows Alberta beef is some of the best beef in the world.
Alberta beef's good. Not as good as Brazilian beef, but it's good.
I said some. I wasn't trying to be definitive.
No, but like, I got to give props where props are due. Brazilian beef is insane.
Know what I thought was really weird? The friggin' beef when I was in England tasted really, really weird to me.
Oh, that's how American beef tastes to me.
It wasn't bad. It was like, this is odd.
I'm just gonna say it. I only eat American bacon. I can't stand Canadian bacon. I can't stand English bacon. Whatever the fuck you guys are using there, like, can't do
it. So are you talking about pie meal bacon, or are you talking about fucking breakfast ham? What the fuck are you talking about?
Any non-American bacon.
Are you talking about streaky bacon, like what we call bacon? Like, you get it on your cheeseburger in the States, bacon cheeseburger?
Yeah,
the round. It's the
yeah, that's what we call fucking bacon in Canada, by the way.
Yeah, Canadian bacon that we think of, only we call it that.
Yeah, no. They've started doing it now.
Well,
it
you
used
guys,
to be called breakfast ham. Now they call it Canadian bacon. The British call it pie meal bacon, which is the better name for it.
here's the problem with Canada. Your whole identity is based on not being American.
Let me take some notes about
Yeah.
the problems with Canada.
Canadian identity is based on how they're not American, and yet you guys all kind of copy everything we do.
You keep going.
That's it. That's it.
That's the only
That's
problems
the
in
Canadian
Canada?
thing.
Oh, well, fuck. It's great to live in Canada then.
It's not even a Canadian problem. It's just a thing. Canadians are like, I'm a Canadian. I'm not from America. But then you love everything we love. You listen to all the music we listen to. You produce some of the music we listen to. It's like you're basically us, but you really, really don't want to be.
You know why we don't want to be you? You want to know why we don't want to be you?
You don't like ARs and freedom?
No, nothing like that. We have. I think at one, not anymore, but we used to have as many guns per capita as Americans because we all are armed up here for hunting and shit like that. Do you know we don't want to be you? Because we have fucking manners.
Yeah, well, you have to
It
have
drives me
manners
nuts when I'm in the States and I say,
you got a piece
please.
of bacon.
Yeah, that's bacon. That's what we eat here too. It's called bacon.
Yeah,
when
I
I
think
say
it's called
please and
bacon
thank you to
everywhere.
a waitress in a restaurant, and all the Americans look at me like I've grown a second fucking head.
Oh no, you
That
need to
depends
hang
entirely
out
where
in
you
the
are.
South.
Well,
That
I've
depends
been in New
entirely.
York. I've been in California. I've been in Michigan, Minnesota.
Yeah,
That was one next to Wisconsin, North Dakota.
Yeah,
I've been in Washington State. I've been in Oregon. And every time I say please to a waitress, she looks at me like, and then 9 out of 10 go, you're from Canada, aren't you? You understand? You guys think you're polite.
not you
In
guys.
your
You have
heads,
to remember
you think
that
you're
America
polite.
is 7 distinct cultures.
Oh, more than that, but it's okay. We in Canada don't think we're polite. You guys think we're polite because you're so impolite. We look at the British and go, they're really polite,
I
aren't
bet you if you ask Doc, who's Jason, I bet you if you ask him if he says please when he goes out and orders in a diner or something, he'll say yes.
they?
No,
Military
absolutely.
only. Anyone in the States who served in the military knows how to say please and thank you.
Not only that, it's a Southern thing. If my mom caught me asking for something and not saying please, I get beat with a spoon.
Where are you from, Jason?
I think it's the
Originally-
discipline thing.
Jason's
too,
a New
myself.
Yorker.
Originally from New Jersey, but
Yeah,
I've lived
he's
New
from New
Jersey.
Jersey, so it's not a Southern thing for him.
No,
It's-
but
it's-
he
it's-
learned.
It is the discipline by your grandparents and your parents. You know,
Because
it's like,
I mean,
Maybe.
my pops grew up
I'm
in
telling
Queens.
I'm telling you, the looks I get in restaurants from waitresses or bartenders when I say please.
I'm
in
not
your
doubting
country?
you, but I'm telling you, my pops grew up in
Well,
Queens.
you
but
listed
after
all
living
blue
in the
states,
South
I
for
have to
20
point
years,
out.
30 years,
I listed all blue states.
you
Okay.
did. Every state you listed was a blue state.
I've been to Florida.
Minnesota's
I've gotten
not.
looks.
or maybe
My
yeah.
pops moved from Queens, New York to Florida and now Kentucky. And he is one of the most polite guys, even though he's still got that Queens accent.
So, sorry, just real quick. This was
He's
a little
polite.
social experiment by me. How does it feel having someone else tell you what your country is about, and what your problems are? Feel good?
It doesn't
I feel good.
bother
Did you like
me
that?
because
Did you
I
enjoy
was
that?
a cat at the time.
Here, let me put it in Canadian for you.
I'm just
I'm
going to say, like,
Yeah.
Stop
Sou-
calling
Southerners can be
Canadian
obnoxious.
Metric.
with
Canadian
There you go. We'll put it in metric for you, you bitches.
Now that I get offended by.
I get offended by that shit too.
Yeah, base
Freedom
10 math.
No one likes
Fuck that.
metric. Metric is stupid.
Freedom 12th, buddy.
You would think the Midwest would be really polite, but Bear's not wrong.
They're not.
Like if you drive from Kentucky into Ohio, you might as well have went into another universe.
No. Go from Central Illinois to St. Louis and see how many times you get told thank you. It'll be 0.
Well, in St. Louis, especially East St. Louis, you're worried about how many times you're going to get shot or stabbed.
No, St. Louis is a fun town. It's a little, murdery.
It's a little murder.
A little murdery.
That's really not a good descriptor that you're going to have attached to your
It's a
geo.
good place. It's a little ballistic, but it's a good place.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Detroit's so effed up
St.
that
Louis
they
is bad. Go
actually
to
have
St.
bear
Louis.
problems.
You guys think St.
And
Louis
Max
is
a
bad?
feral
Go to
dog.
East St.
He
Louis.
just said that, Vic. He just said East St. Louis. You're worried about how many times you're going to get shot or stabbed.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vic's
East St.
doing
Louis is
something.
bad.
He's distracted.
I
He's
fucking
ordering his next giant wall poster.
I take so much offense at the fucking so many things about St. Louis. I used to love that town. That was 2 hours away from my home. I would drive there, have fun, pack up, go back. It was great. But something happened during the 1990s and early 2000s. And now they can't go back. They're little murdery. That is their fucking slogan.
You know what it is? And Bear might take offense to this.
Yeah,
It's called too much money in the welfare system, and not enough consequences. You know what I mean?
Let me ask you a quick question. Why would I take offense to that?
I don't know. I just think
Have
you're
you
more
not
left
figured
than
out
me.
yet that I'm not a leftist? I'm not a right wing. I'm centrist.
Yeah.
And we all know what has to happen to the centrists.
You take a better you make a better stab at it than others, Bear. I'll give you that.
The centrists have to die.
No, we don't. You need us, because otherwise you're going to murder each other. No, we have this thing
That's
in
the
Quebec.
point,
We have literal generational welfare here. Like there are parts of this city I'm in, neighborhoods where like the 5th and 6th generation are on welfare still.
Oh,
But they
Jesus
speak
Christ.
French, so I mean, you know,
we have that here too. I lived
Yeah.
like when I lived in the Bronx. I
Okay,
remember
Doc,
there was
that's not the point. Is whether you have it or not. The point is that we have welfare problems too. So why would I take offense, Vic?
I didn't-
Hey, Bear has been very
You live
sensitive
close
about
enough to
people
Canada to know
shit-talking
better.
Canada lately. You guys
Sorry, what was
don't
that?
understand it. I said you've been a little sensitive about people shit talking Canada, rightly so. So I mean, you know,
Well, they got
Given-
their own
given-
problems. They got Carney up
Yeah.
there now.
Given the circus you guys live in, you guys throwing shade on us is pretty fucking amusing. Let's
Okay.
be honest.
Well, I was throwing equal shade at Canada and the UK for making the world's non-bacon. Okay.
Again, we eat. Do you want to go get the fucking pack out of the deep freeze and show you what bacon is in Canada?
You keep yours in a deep freeze? I don't know. I can't live like that. I can't wait for it to thaw. I need bacon now.
now I will tell you this though, I do like the Canadian ham too. But I'm a ham guy. I like
I love ham. I got Mickleberry
hate
ham
ham.
for $6 a pound right now.
Yeah, I buy my 4-pack at Costco, so I don't want it to go bad in the fridge before I get to it. So I freeze what I'm not using until I use it. What's that word? What's that word?
Yeah.
It says bacon.
Yeah, but
What does it look like? Oh my god! Oh my god! It's fucking bacon!
Here.
Oh my fuck! It's
How much you
bacon!
paid for that, Bear?
4 packs at 500 grams per pack was 20 something, 27, 28.
what the fuck is a
Yeah,
gram?
but that's Canadian dollars. So
Yeah, so in American dollars, that would have been like $20. I buy it at
That
Costco.
still
Man.
doesn't answer my question.
What's a gram?
What the fuck is a gram?
How many grams in an ounce?
I don't know.
28. How many ounces in a pound? American education
15.
system.
No, down here we just say, you know, it weighs about as much as
oh, here it comes with this bacon. Everybody's showing their bacon off.
you know.
Okay. So this here, I bought this for $4.49 at HEB.
Okay, good for you.
12
Congratulations. That would be $8 in Canada because it would be $4.49 American.
And this is the Sam's same shit you just had in your hand for Kirkland.
Uh-huh.
Same processing facility, okay? But I think this was like $15 or no, it wasn't that much.
For
Like-
one pack.
For like $14 for one package. And this
How many
is,
grams?
Shit.
Sorry. How many pounds?
I don't know. I just go to the quick
This is
Trip and they have
48
it on sale
ounces.
for $3.50. a
48
pound.
ounces.
3 pounds of thick fucking bacon.
48. Okay. So, how many? It's 48 ounces, you said?
Yes, sir. And this
Okay.
is
So, hang on. I get roughly the same amount, 4 packs, 500 grams each. So that's the same as you, 48 ounces, almost a little bit more. And in Canadian, I pay 26, 27, whatever it is at fucking at Costco. If I were to convert that to American dollars, I'd be paying $22, $21.
Yeah.
So stop shitting on me, man.
I'm not trying to shit on you, but I'm trying to I want the culture. What Canadian bacon is, it's not bacon. Like,
oh my fuck! Come here. We're not. Jesus Christ, you fucking psycho! It's the same thing. It's the fucking pork cut. It's the exact same thing, you moron.
No, it's not.
It is. It is the exact same fucking cut of pork that you're talking about. You're confusing back bacon with fucking straight. Hi.
Calm down, Mayor. Calm down.
Ow.
Stop it.
Okay. All right. I won't let the
in SCTV. They were talking about back bacon.
Yeah, I know they were.
They were always talking about let's go get some back bacon, which is just ham.
Wait till he comes back. I got something. Wait. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be real good. Oh, he's taking forever to come back. Oh man. Being too good? Okay. Where's Bruce? Where'd he go? Did he fall in? Is he in his fridge now going, help me, I'm trapped under all this bacon?
Well, there's worse problems. Being trapped.
There he comes. Okay. Bruce's inability to understand the difference between what everyone calls bacon and back bacon, that's kind of like you thinking like a Democrat. Your inability to understand that they're not cutting Medicaid or Social Security yet.
That is so weird.
You seem to think they still are.
That, and it's
so you heard it here first, folks. Bruce is a Democrat.
Okay, Harry Sasson.
Those
my
hey,
God! If I was that
you
pretty,
did.
I wouldn't be talking to you guys. I'd be getting laid. Though if I was
Remember, we're friends here before anybody crosses some lines.
Oh, what lines are going to be crossed? What?
Well, calling somebody Harry Sasson in America, I think might get your ass whipped.
Well, yeah, we don't give a fuck. I think we'd make him prime
Well,
minister.
that's because you're Canadian. See, in America, we care about these
That
things.
cat of yours, Bear, is the most spoiled animal I've seen in a long time.
And what's hilarious, though, about the Harry Sasson situation is like everyone he knows has turned their backs on him. Everyone that worked with him has lost their job. He is right and proper effed.
Who's this?
But who's surprised? He claimed to be a male feminist. It's always the male feminist.
Well, what happened? Did he get busted for something?
He apparently had been playing 11 girls, having them sending butt pics and shit like this, sleeping with them, etc. And of course, these are feminist women who are doing this because he's a male feminist and big in the Democrat thing. So, immediately as soon as somebody got a clue what was going on, they all came out. The big shock, if you ever watch Bearing was like, the thing that surprises me the most is he's not gay. And I was like, me too. I feel you, Bearing. I always thought the guy was gay.
What are we talking about?
He was the young guy that was like, Joe Biden's the greatest president of all time and men for Kamala. And he was like this little young punk that you would want punch in the head if you actually had to deal with him. But apparently he was playing like 11 women.
What's the guy's name?
Harry Sasson.
Yeah,
I'm shocked he's not gay. To be honest, I'm completely shocked he's not. I'm with
I would have swore on anything that him and that other little fuzzy blonde-haired guy he hung out with were touching.
That's
people.
okay. You have a bigger problem.
Been.
Harry Sasson, who gives a fuck? You have a much bigger problem in your leftist media down there, and it goes by the name Hassan Piker.
Oh, the guy who actively supports Hamas and Hezbollah and the Houthis.
Isn't that like Cenk Uyghur's nephew?
Cenk Uyghur's nephew.
Yeah.
Except Cenk and Anna Kasparian have basically both jumped his shit, told him he's an idiot.
Has Cenk? I've never seen Cenk do it.
Cenk did it too. Cenk is starting to sound an awful lot more centrist lately.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's seeing the writing on the wall. He's reading tea leaves. I don't know what the fuck Cenk is. Now, Anna Kasparian, after her event, she's practically ready to throw a MAGA hat on.
She's getting closer, man.
She's getting close. But even Cenk is moving his opinions. And it's pretty wild to see because those guys were like such dickheads. And all of a sudden, and then people who used to work for them that got fired for being assholes are coming out and talking shit. about Chink and Anna, and Anna's lighting them up on X because, you know, that's what they do. And Anna's right. You should be able to walk down the street, even in New York, and not get attempted SA'd by a homeless guy. That should not be too much to ask. And anyone who calls her racist or whatever for pointing it out, first off, is a white guy. And secondly, it just should never happen. But Anna had a wake-up call. She started realizing maybe what we're doing ain't working because I don't want to be raped by some random homeless guy. You know what I mean?
Well, so they're independent media. Anyone who's outside like the corporate media structure, I think, is starting to see this is unsustainable. And they need to like jump that ship as soon as possible.
I literally have friends who are angry and hate Trump, hate him. And these are rational friends. These are like some of my best friends. They're like sane human beings. But they hate Trump because the Canadian news up here just tells us all the time, he's killing Canada. He's killing Canada. And now the fucking liberals are in the lead again in the polls.
I know.
3 fucking months ago, we were fucking guaranteed a conservative government. And then your fucking leader pulled his bullshit and it caused this fucking vein of Canadian nationalism to kick in. And now we're going to be stuck with Prime Minister fucking Carney again. This fucking piece of work.
I don't know if he's going to stay in power that long.
He will.
Really? You think?
Oh, yeah. He was the economic advisor to Justin, or Justine, as I like to call her.
Justine. Oh, man.
Well,
Yeah, that's called fucking back bacon, you fucking spaz.
Bear. The question is, do you think Carney's going to go to the negotiating table with Trump and get these tariffs reduced between the two?
He already has.
He already has. He's already rolling over.
The whole thing. See, the thing, you guys, it's going to be a little hard if you're an American too. But the thing you have to realize about the tariffs, it was just Trump throwing his dick on the table to let other people know he was serious.
No, I literally.
It doesn't mean he's not going to negotiate. Of course, he's going to negotiate.
That's what
but before he started the negotiation, he wanted everyone to know.
Hey, by the way,
who's got the biggest dick? That's all.
Bruce, are you listening, Bruce? Are you listening? Cool. Back bacon, often called Canadian bacon in the United States, is a cured and smoked pork loin cut known for its lean texture and mild smoky flavor.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's delicious. Outside it's not what we call bacon. When we go to a restaurant and we order bacon, we get strips of fucking bacon.
Okay.
Made from pork belly. Made from pork belly.
I don't live anywhere near where you're at, so all I know is that like I've been inundated with this shit.
Okay, so now I want you to think about this. You know when you see those videos where they're telling you Birmingham is a no-go city in the UK and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Ye old geek lives in fucking Birmingham. And he's like, it's not a no-go city. There's people say stupid shit all the fucking time.
News.
Huh?
Hello, Gunno. Yeah, one thing is people don't hate the mainstream media as much as they should. Because it's fucking terrible. And it makes us not like each other when normally we would like each other.
I got rid of my doctor.
You got to watch out for the extreme right and the extreme left media as well, because they go and find the worst fucking thing they can about what their topic is and then try and make it seem like that's the norm.
Well, that's what you do, right?
Yeah.
That's how it works.
So open your mind. Get a
Ground
News. Everybody go fucking subscribe to Ground News. I wish they would sponsor me.
So like Quattro says.
Are they good? Because I've been thinking about
I bought my buddy a fucking year-long subscription for Christmas. And he's like, well, I don't know. And then every now and then I'll get a fucking article from him in the Facebook like, hey, I read this. It's really weird. But they're really good because the one thing they do is any story you go to, they show you who's reporting on it. And then they show you that you can go look on the articles to see how they're reporting it.
Oh,
they're going a step further than that, Bear.
I've been hearing about that.
I've had Ground News for over 2 years. And I'll tell you one thing. Ground News also at the highest tier, they show you how much money and who from is being spent to forward a story into the fucking mainstream media.
Yeah, I couldn't afford that tier. I'm just a poor Canadian living with tariffs.
Whether you like him or not, he uses Ground News when he does his research on the various things he bitches about. Which is usually just him saying England is cooked. But I mean, most of the British guys I watch, like Lotus Eaters and shit, they're all saying it too. They're like, we're cooked, we're done. Give it up. And they use ground news. So
I don't know if they're completely fucked. The thing is, the British have been through this, not this exact thing, but things like this before. They're very calm and quiet, but eventually they get squirrely as fuck once they've been pushed.
They're like Canadians.
Yeah.
They're polite until they have to fight. And then
when the gloves have to be coming off, like, good luck to you, because I wouldn't want to fucking take a group of people up against fucking Canadians on Juno. Nope. Nope. I'm good.
Oh, you think that was the thing? Con. It sounds like somebody's backing something up.
Not me.
Or Bear is cooking and he forgot, and his smoke
kettle.
alarm's going.
He's got a Mexican oven timer.
I'll tell you what. I've had to go into houses that they called fires in, and it ended up just being refried beans burned on the stove. A lot. Like 99% of the time. You go in, you immediately go to the kitchen, and it's beans burning on the stove. And you just take them off the heat and open up windows, and you're good. If you're unlucky, they have the microwave over the stove, and the microwaves burn up too. So, you know. Yeah, we get a few of those. Those are easy calls. You know what I mean? Dune says ground news is great. Dune, I like that you like Dune. I hope it means you like the Frank Herbert Dune, because that's
Dunk, book. Not Dune. I see Dunk underscore.
Yeah, I think it's Dunk.
Oh, is that C? Okay. Yeah, I need to clean my glasses. They're greasy as shit where I touch them.
James, I'm not trying to flex. I'm not. I use a fucking huge fucking TV as my monitor with an HDMI cable, because otherwise I'm going, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that?
No. Seriously, look at my glasses. They are filthy. It's like looking through fog.
Have you ever thought about getting a hold of one of these little things? Like one of these nice little orange rags, you can wipe.
Oh, I have a ton of them. I just haven't used them because sometimes I'm lazy and I'm concentrating on other things. And my wife even has the damp packets, the ones you open up specifically to clean your glasses.
I use this on my television every once in a while. This is a Whoosh. It's a alcohol wipes for your screens.
Yeah. No, the problem was, guys. See, now look how clear those are.
So the reason that smoke detector is the ceilings.
His name is Duncan. He shortened it. Well, Duncan's a cool name.
Duncan's a great name, but Dunk is a good name too. My cousin Duncan is Dunk the Skunk. Anyway, the ceilings are 10 fucking feet, okay? And that fucking smoke detector is up there. That fucking thing goes off if I fart.
You know what that means, right?
It's oversensitive.
Your doctor
officially black.
You tell.
I'm confused.
Because there's a meme online about every time they interview a black person in an apartment, you can hear their smoke detector chirp.
Fucking smoke detector's going off.
Because somebody hasn't changed the battery. Probably the super's responsibility, to be honest. And it gets to where they don't even notice it. So they'll be sitting there talking, and every now and then you'll hear beep. So what some smartasses start doing on YouTube is they started adding that beep in to videos where there weren't that beep. So you'll see like the black congressman talking, and every now and then you'll hear beep. It's just like, it's racist, maybe a little, but it's hilarious.
It's funny, but it's a little fucking off base.
It might be, but it don't matter. It's hilarious.
I'll take
anyway, that thing's not only for smoke, it's also for heat. So if there's too much heat, it goes off, right? It's one of those types of detectors. So it's got a heat detector and a smoke detector in it. Every time I cook anything over 350 degrees in my oven, and my chicken wings got to cook at 400, right. It'll go off. And, I'll open windows, I'll have the fan on, doesn't matter. It'll go off. It's exhausting.
Yep, that was one of the things that my department did. Is if you were a really old person, you could like put your name on a list, and like once a year we would have like a whole month where when we weren't actually running calls, we were going to old people's houses and either putting new batteries in their smoke detectors or giving them brand new smoke detectors. Because say they didn't have a smoke detector in their house, well, we would install them. And I'm a big D&D guy. Some cool minis you're picking. Yeah, me. Actually, everyone in this chat right now, Dunk, is a D&D guy. Even the one saying he's not is running a D&D game, I believe.
Fine. I'm running a BX game. Fine.
And but unlike my good friend Bruce over here, who's painting D&D miniatures, I'm actually assembling Lovecraft miniatures. This is a Hound of Tindalos, but I've got a couple more legs to put on it. Why? Just because I like Lovecraft? Because it's not. I mean, we've done one shots, but we've never actually done a campaign or anything.
So what do you guys think? Perkins gone. What do you think is going to happen next?
When what happens?
With Perkins gone. Some say Perkins was Chris Perkins. Remember we said
earlier? That bald fuck at the end. That was
that bald fuck was old school to a certain extent, more so than Jeremy Crawford, who's still there. So with Merles, who was the very old school guy,
yeah,
he went. Then you have Crawford going. Is there anyone old school left at WotC? Is there anyone who even likes old D&D there?
They're all Tinder people, Tumblr people. Excuse me, same thing.
Yeah, because
no, I'm not into fat chicks.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah. I think you're right there. I think that they're basically done with the old school thing because
clearly,
Merles was as close to old school as they really had, and they fired him.
I don't know why they did.
Can at least say that he was the guy that drew the map for Deep Dwarven.
Oh, it was something to do with the Zach fucking Sada thing and all that bullshit. He was somehow tied up in that, and they made a bunch of accusations against him, and so they took him off and they put him on some other project, and then he just went fuck this, and he got hired by Chaos and he left.
Yeah, they hid him in a closet.
Yeah,
because he took advice in email form from Pundit and Zach Sabbath on how 5e should be. That's why.
Yeah, no, but there was something else. There was something about Zach Sabbath like being fucking inappropriate with someone, and there's an implication that Merles ran cover for him, but it was like vague.
But he wasn't. What happened is Zach broke up with his girlfriend Mandy, and Mandy does what a lot of spurned exes do. She immediately told a bunch of people a bunch of bullshit. And one of these people, an Australian guy, spread it around. So Zach sued the fuck out of him and won. But you know how it is. A lot of people are like, oh, a woman said you did something, so therefore you did it. And now I would feel sad for Zach having spoken to him personally. But, I mean, he's the same guy that would have canceled someone else. So for Zach, he just got what he would have done to someone else anyway. You see what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, look at how they're going after, I'm blanking her name, the Harry Potter chick, who is like the wokest fucking person on earth.
Right.
Yeah, except for one issue.
Yep. She one issue. Like boys and girls sports. Or
I mean, I'm just going to say that Elon Musk isn't really that far away from J.K. Rowling on a lot of things.
Oh, he's lefty as shit on a huge number of issues.
The only issue where he's really quote unquote a righty on is where it comes to like the trans issue because he lost his fucking kid. He's got no relationship with his oldest son because his oldest son's gone to Troonville.
Even though, to be fair, recently he did give his oldest son a free Cybertruck.
He's trying to make a inroad,
whatever the hell.
He's trying to make a way to where he can get in and have a conversation and establish a relationship again, which I hope it works.
Well, as somebody who has had falling outs with daughters, yeah, that's what you do. You just kind of give them their space for a time, and then you hope that you can talk to them and be like, hey, you know, I still love you. We disagree, but I still love you. You know, be cool. It's all good. I mean, I've been through that myself personally, so I understand it. Chris Perkins, though, to go back to Bear's actual quandary, him being gone, well, I don't think D&D can get any worse whether he's there or not.
No, it can get worse, I'm sure. I don't know what the new floor will be, but I won't give a shit about it.
I lack the imagination to imagine it being worse.
Listen, you say that now. We'll be in a conversation 3 years from now saying, remember when we were bitching about them only doing this to our hobby? You know, and now we have this to worry about. I'm fearful of a conversation of what they might do, how they might molest the culture around the tabletop gaming.
I'm not fearful. I have a game group between 8 and 10 players and me, and I am completely isolated and inoculated from anything the culture does.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Kiss my ass, you know.
Now,
watch that Chris Perkins is gone. You want to know what would be like a thing? If they hire the guy who wrote Thirsty Sword Lesbians. Now that would be a thing to talk about. You know?
I can only wish cancer upon a group or company so many times.
Wow,
I can only wish cancer, fire, and cataclysm on them so many times. I absolutely can't stand Thirsty Sword Lesbians, Evil Hats, Coyote and Crow.
Well, Coyote and Crow is just straight up racist.
Yeah,
it's like imagine a world where a meteor hit in the middle of Europe and killed all the white people. That is like the premise of the game, and then fast forward it, and Wakanda is a thing basically because everybody knows if the Europeans had been destroyed, Africa would have turned into a utopian sci-fi society, and North America too. And that's the premise of the whole game. It's like, okay, I mean, all right. Whatever.
I'm actually completely happy with everything WotC is doing because, you know, get D&D out of the way. Kill it.
You know, as long as it's Dungeons and Dragons, that it will never go away. That's the problem. Because name recognition is so huge, there's always going to be an idiot that insists that whatever you're doing, you have to play whatever the official D&D is.
No, things seem like that till they're not. Like Facebook seemed like irreplaceable and undefeatable for the longest time, and it's basically dying now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's stuff. It'll go down at some point. It'll stop being a thing. I think we've probably seen the last edition of it for probably a very long time. I think
God, I could only hope so.
I think they're basically. I think they've given up on it as a tabletop game.
I'm going to tell you something about Facebook. Every one of you guys that use Facebook owe Tom an apology.
What if we never used MySpace to begin with?
MySpace?
If you didn't use MySpace, then maybe you don't owe Tom an apology. But if you left MySpace to go to Facebook, you owe Tom an apology. Because Tom would let you do basically whatever the fuck you want.
Tom let you put music on your fucking
songs, the shit. You could, if you knew how to code a little bit, you could do crazy shit. And Tom was awesome. And then you went to Zuckerberg and he fucked you over and sold all your shit. So you get what you deserve. And I hope wherever Tom is, he's got millions of dollars and he's doing well.
He does. He's touring the fucking world. He's banging hookers with
I'm glad he deserves to. My first webpage was on MySpace and it was awesome. When when people clicked on my thing, the first thing that happened is Love Song from The Cure would start playing and fucking. Well, I mean, that was a long time ago. Bear cut me a break. I was still.
No, I'm happy. I like that. That was a positive.
And, and it had like all my pictures and all my friends. And it was so good.
Is MySpace gone, or is it just effectively gone? Oh, so it is still there?
It's still there. It's a bot farm and it's a a place where you can get assaulted by fucking 30,000 viruses a year, but still there.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's actually supporting it.
There,
Like, a little while, you know, people are actually supporting it.
right as Facebook overtook MySpace, MySpace went to music, and they had some actual deals go through, and they were making local bands.
Yeah, they were promoting independent bands and
They
shit.
would promote independent bands and actually do stuff.
Yeah.
And it looked fucking cool. Like they were going to do something. They were reinventing themselves, and then that just kind of fell flat.
And the whole point of Facebook originally was so college kids could arrange hookups.
Well, when I went to college,
Yes.
late 80s, they gave us something called the new Facebook. And it was pictures of all the freshmen that were joining you this year. It was just a book of like, these are the students who are joining us this year. And it was called the new Facebook. That's where he got the name from, was this idea of the Facebook being this thing that colleges did to welcome in freshmen.
Well, I hope you didn't grade any of those freshmen on a number scale, because apparently that's very bad.
Well, I wouldn't know. I was in student radio. We were getting in way more trouble.
Right. That's what Hungar went to university for. You should hear some of his stories. Like, he'd do the overnight show, and if he really, really had to take a dump, he'd always play Danzig Mother. Like the extended 15-minute long version or some shit. Like, he knew all the ins and outs of all the bullshit, so it'd be like,
dude, I used to put
oh
on
man, I need a smoke break. Let's put on freaking Stairway to Heaven.
I'd put on Pink Floyd The Wall. I'd pick a random side of Pink Floyd The Wall.
Yeah.
And then I had a stinger programmed on a cart that I would hit that say, now, one side of Pink Floyd The Wall. Well, Bear goes and smokes. You know, it would be my name, but you know.
Yeah.
And I would do that. One time, I'm standing outside the caf smoking while we're doing this with the program director, like the station manager. And he goes, because we can hear it playing in the caf, and he goes, is that skipping? Yeah, it is. Huh. Another smoke? Yeah, sure. We didn't give a fuck. We got tickets to David Bowie's Glass Spider Tour.
Oh, nice.
I'm on the air. My station manager comes in. He's like, dude, put me live. I'm like, dude, middle of the song. He goes, put me fucking live. I'm like, okay. He says, all right. We got 2 tickets to David Bowie's Glass Spider tonight at the Montreal, the Olympic Stadium. We're giving them away to the first girl that comes in with pink panties to show us.
Oh, my goodness.
We had a fucking line, like out the studio and around the corner, of women who were going to try and get these fucking tickets. The funny thing
It
is
David Bowie.
The first 15 didn't even have pink panties. They just wanted to see if they could get the tickets for showing us their panties.
See, my mind went somewhere else. Like, the first 15 didn't even have panties. And I was saying, I hope you gave them the ticket, because they went that extra mile. You know what I'm saying? They're like, I'm going to go show you my vag because I want to see Pink Floyd that bad. Fuck, I'd have showed you my dick if I thought you'd give me tickets to see Pink Floyd. I mean, or David Bowie, I mean.
You wouldn't want.
I mean, you might have laughed, but I wouldn't have cared if I got the tickets.
You wouldn't have.
Let's just say, you know.
Oh,
Now, had Hunter done it, he might have got the tickets.
We don't do anything unless we can get 20% off of it. That's a Jewish joke.
Shalom, baby, shalom.
That you know, if you get a bris, it's like, what's with us Jews always wanting 10% off? You know, because that's where they cut your foreskin off.
The joke is, why do Jewish men get circumcised? And the answer is because Jewish women won't touch anything unless it's 20% off.
Right. That's another one. Yeah. I mean, but if you can't laugh at yourself, then you're just stuck laughing at artards, and that's not nice.
Yeah, there are a lot of them, though.
There's, you know, and sometimes I think I'm one of them. It's like every time I think the world is full of idiots, I stop and think, am I one of them? And I never really
Damn
am.
right.
You know, I'm like, I could be one of them.
No, this is the children who are wrong.
No, I think sometimes I am a retard. I've gotten to that point where when I think the whole world is full of idiots, that I'm like, well, I'm in the world, and
I do live here.
there's a good chance I'm an idiot. You know what I'm saying? See, that's part of learning humility, when you realize that you might be exactly as stupid as the stupidest person you know.
Everyone is an idiot to someone.
And then you stop judging because you realize that stupidest person you know that you've been super judgmental about, yeah, you're just as dumb as he is. So shut the hell up, you know? Unless they're Canadian, then it's fair game because, you know.
No.
I'm sorry, Bear. I had to stick that in there. That's what she said.
Yeah.
But you know, I don't mean it. You know, I have nothing but love for our northern brothers.
Mm-hmm.
For real, I wanted you guys to heal up after you got rid of Justine, not continue your trajectory.
We'll see.
Blame your bitch. He caused it.
We'll see if everything turns around the way some people hope it will. Then all of a sudden, maybe your people will be like, hey, it turns out that everything that's happening, while it started out a little harsh, it ended up really good. So, you know, our liberal party's full of shit. Now, I can't swear that that'll happen, but it could. I mean, keep the
The
faith,
majority
right?
of things he did before worked out pretty okay. The worst that he's ever done for me is he does shit with the Second Amendment. He does things with private property law. He doesn't understand it. He doesn't get it.
He was misled on the bump stock thing.
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm at.
The new person in charge of the ATF did is tell the ATF they're not allowed to create rules. So
the ATF actually classified a shoestring as a machine at one point. Shows you where their heads are at.
Right. And the thing is, since nobody has elected them and there's no legislation, therefore they cannot make any rule affecting a amendment right. So all the just stupid little rules they kept making, that shit's all gone.
Well, that's sort of like administrative courts. They're getting rid of those too. You're not going to have the IRS have their own little administrative judge saying, you owe us this. Oh, no. You got to drag me to federal court.
Right.
To argue that shit. So
because if the administrative judge works for the IRS, who do you think he's going to fine for every time?
Right.
And if the ATF judge is part of the ATF, of course he's going to support the ATF, even if they do burn down some weird house in the middle of Texas and kill, you know, a shit ton of children for no reason. Oh, I know. Did I say something? Yeah.
No, Branch Davidians.
Who are maniacs. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to become a Branch Davidian, but you know that Dave Koresh drove into Waco, Texas twice a month to buy groceries, unarmed by himself. At any time, they could just arrested that idiot.
Yep.
That'd been the end of it. But nope. What's her name? That looks like a man.
Janet Reno.
Janet.
Yeah, she wanted to prove the power of the federal government. It ended up in a federal building getting blown up.
Hey, how hard's your dick right now, Bruce? We're talking politics. You must be happy.
Trying not to get a hard dick about this.
I mean, I don't think this is politics.
This is politics.
This is
Is
shitty
it?
American history. That's what
This
it
is
is.
100% politics because you
Well,
have to
I
look at
think
power
it's
at
just
the time,
historical
what the
bullshit.
agenda of the people in power at the time was, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot of things that tie into the whole Waco.
Yeah, the ATF wanted to show who was boss.
Ruby Ridge, that whole thing.
Ruby Ridge.
Yeah, they wanted to show who was boss.
Isn't that around the same time they killed the radio guy?
Bill Cooper?
Before that happened, way before they killed the Jewish guy in Texas.
No, that's a different thing.
You're talking about Bill Cooper?
Yeah, Bill Cooper. When did they kill him? What year?
1990, 1993, somewhere around there.
2001.
Really? Wow.
Milton William Cooper was killed in 2001. So yeah, that's during that whole rush, the 90s, the mid to late 90s.
See, I gotta disagree. Like Cooper was the only critic of the USG that was really big and mainstream at the time after Waco, because before Waco, you had 10,000 Bill Coopers out there on ham radios, on small radio stations out of Tulsa and OKC and Joplin, Missouri, and in Bunkerville areas. You had all these guys that were small time, and they were talking anti-USG stuff the whole time. And then Waco happens, and it shut every fucking buddy down. Fucking program managers came across. They're like, listen, we're not going to do this anymore. We're going to just preempt this. This is all going to coast. We're going to listen to Coast to Coast at night, and that's the most anti-American we're going to get. Fuck you. We're not going to have a target on our backs. And William Cooper was out there, and he kept talking. No surprise what happened to him. I hate to say it.
Well, it's nice. Like, what's his name? The one that invented his own like newspaper or whatever. And I know he left his house to go for a walk, and then he sat down on a park bench and had a heart attack.
That's Andrew Breitbart.
And it's like, really, this 40-year-old man just sat down and had a heart attack?
No, it's not just that. Andrew Breitbart had won a bet, and he forced a conversation with Bill Ayers and Bernadine Dorn, and he had supper the night he had the heart attack with them. And therefore, it led me and others to believe that Andrew Breitbart was poisoned by them. But on his way home, he sat down on a park bench, like you said, and his heart went away.
Well, Bill Ayers, we know before he became a professor, was a straight-up terrorist.
Yeah, he was part of the Weather Underground in Illinois.
They were blowing up federal buildings and shit.
Yeah, he bombed the fucking Pentagon in 1970.
Which is so weird. America, we have weird laws. Like, you can bomb the Pentagon and then become a professor at a university. It seems like you couldn't do that in reality. Like,
I think you have to now.
This is Illinois. We're talking Illinois, the same miserable shithole that produced Barack Hussein Obama. Sorry, Bear. If you were to get a hard on, Bear, I mean.
Listen, we're not screaming about Nancy Pelosi for once.
I mean,
not yet. That only happens when we start talking about money.
They did make the Capitol ceiling higher to accommodate her eyebrows.
You're welcome, everyone.
So Dunk says his DM picks and chooses which rules are best for the game and creates the most fun. That's a good DM, Dunk. You have a good DM.
Yeah.
That's my only response to that statement. You have a good DM. He cares about whether or not you're having fun, and he picks and chooses from a wide variety of sources the rules that are best for your group. You know who wanted people to do that? Gary Gygax.
At
that
times.
was the whole thing. Gygax, he even is quoted as saying he envisioned a time when there would be 1,000 different game tables playing 1,000 different versions of D&D.
And that's
because of all the house rules that each DM would do.
That caused fucking Wizards to have a fucking aneurysm. And that's why you have miserable fucking games where you have people that are using Eberron rules for a Forgotten Realms setting, and it drives people that were previously in the hobby up the fucking wall.
Well, I just hate Eberron. I always will, and I'm sorry to anyone who does like Eberron. As a setting, I've always thought Eberron was shit.
Yeah, it's a poor man's Earth Dawn.
Yeah, or even Taos Lanta for artards.
Ooh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's kind of weird like Taos Lanta, but not.
Boy, you're really making Taos Lanta sound bad when you compare it to Eberron. Stop that.
No, okay, I will. But as a setting, I'm just saying, it's like the guy read Taos Lanta and said, okay, now how can I make this where people with an 80 IQ can understand?
I have a question.
Yes, please.
What the fuck does this have to do with the Basque Separatists?
Oh, my God. My question would be, what does anything have to do with the Basque Separatists? I don't even know what Basques really are.
Neither do they.
They live way up in the mountains in France somewhere, right?
In
And they have
Spain.
no genetic markers,
Spain,
that
it's
match, and they don't match anybody else in Europe for genetic markers, and their linguistic haplogroup does not share any other traits with any other language known to man.
And I think they're all Forgotten Realms guys.
No, they're worse than that. They're Mistara.
Yeah. They're like, if you're not running your ventures in the Grand Duchy of Karameikos, I don't even want to talk to you. As a matter
I
of fact,
can't handle the fact that there's a desert right next to the Vikings. Well, that's your problem, sir. It's a fantasy world.
that I gotta admit, Bear, that was hilarious. The last time I thought about Basque separatists was the last time I watched Grosse Point Blank. Because the one guy was there and he's like, that Basque separatist guy, oh, I hate that guy. He's bringing in the Mexican maids, and he's like, "Oh, the stabbers, yeah." He's like, huh.
You took a bath on those T-80s. You know, it was like,
yeah, when they bought all the Russian tanks and they thought they were going to sell them off, and they're like, "Man, we really took a bath on that." How about does the name Kudrow ring in bells? Woof, woof, boom. He's like, how did I know the dog was trained to fetch when I threw the dynamite?
Hound hitter, pooch puncher.
Yeah.
Popcorn.
Hitter. Yeah, all that shit. Hilarious.
The guys know our buddy Squirrel Hermit's on the Legion of Myth panel tonight, right?
Is he? I did not know that.
What are they doing tonight?
The hidden costs. The price you didn't plan for, tabletop RPG burdens.
Well, I mean,
hidden costs of tabletop RPGs can put a strain on your wallet and your well-being. From unexpected group conflicts to overlooked scheduling nightmares, discover how these hidden factors can derail your favorite pastime.
Huh. Well, I mean, Squirrel Hermit would know. The costs that RPGs put on me is I love miniatures. I love gold.
I love gold. All right, don't speak freaky deaky Dutch.
I love that. When Watson's
no.
There are two things I hate. Those who are prejudiced against other people for their race and creed.
There's two things I can't stand. It's those who are owing to the race of others and a Dutch.
Yeah, I love that. Is that the same movie where like Dr. Evil and Mini-Me do Hard Knock Life in prison?
Oh yeah, I think that's the one.
When he walks up to all the gang members, he's like, listen up, y'all. He's just like, stop it shit.
The best part about Dr. Evil is when you find out that he's just doing a fucking Lorne Michaels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How is Lorne Michaels still at it doing Saturday Night Live?
He just died, I thought. Didn't he die?
I don't know.
I thought he's dead.
No.
I do know. It's D to the Rizzo, E to the Vizzo, I to the Lizzo.
He's 80 years old, still alive. Sure.
Y'all know that. Austin caught me in the first
one of those mysteries. He's been at NBC, ABC, whatever the hell it has been for 50 years, I think now. And I'm just like,
hey,
up. Your peak has been way back when Dan Aykroyd and those guys were.
Oh wow! So you're even OSR in your entertainment.
I can throw down somewhere.
He's produced over 847 episodes of Saturday Night Live. He's still alive. I was thinking of Little Bud.
Let's see, guys. I think 3.5 hours is going to be enough. I'm going to go harass my wife.
Uh-oh.
Tell her you're going to Dave Con and that since you had to go to the wedding.
About driving to Minnesota. Yeah, I will, but I ain't promised you nothing. And then my brother, who said he was interested in driving me, not Hungar, but the other guy. Yeah, he totaled his car. Like the day after he said, hey, that could be fun, I would drive. Someone hit him, totaled his car. I was like,
there's still space open in those Vampire the Masquerade games and some others, man.
No, but I would sit down and play some old school D&D for sure.
Yeah. Well,
some Call of Cthulhu, something like that.
Yeah, Call of Cthulhu is up there. Shadow Dark.
More likely, I would just walk around and jabber like an ape at everybody for like 2 days. maybe not even roll a die. I'd just be like, hey, man, I know you. How you doing? What's up? I love your stuff. That would be me. I'd be the social butterfly just wandering around and then buying a couple things here and there,
Oh, we got 18 vendors, so you'd be going back with a load of stuff.
No, because if the wife takes me, I will not. Everything has to be carefully negotiated.
Hey, James, that's when we put her on the light rail. We send her over to the Mall of America with some other ladies that come, and she comes back.
I can tell you right now, she would absolutely hate that.
She would?
Oh, absolutely. She
like my stereotypes. I need to have my stereotypes.
She hates people way more than I do, I think.
Oh. Well,
she likes to be alone.
It's sort of one of those things. People just go because it's like, okay, we got to go see the mall,
Maybe she would. I can't speak for her. I mean, she's her own person. She might decide she wants to see the mall.
I'm not gonna lie. I would go to the Mall of America because I've never been there before, and I used to fucking love malls.
I would go just so I could ride the escalators that they had on the first WCW Nitro, where they had wrestling in the Mall of America. I'd like to see that. That would be fun.
I would go to see the first Rainforest Cafe because I worked in the one they opened at Animal Kingdom.
They closed the original one and they moved it.
Ah, well then I wouldn't go. I just hang out around whoever else was there. Maybe I'd stand in the corner and watch everyone else and think to myself, these people don't even know that I am forklift qualified. I will release you all. Enjoy your Thursday or Friday, whatever day it is. Watch Legion of Myth, and if you want, and peace and love.
All right, man.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone who watched or will watch in the future. If I didn't see you this time, hopefully I'll see you next.
Bibbidi bobbidi.
Bibbidi bobbidi. Zibbidi doobidi.
Later all.